WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 2 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Cruden. Brought to you by Verizon. The city of Elgin has been named one of the top U.S. cities for workforce growth, boasting an impressive 16.08 increase in its working age population. With thoughtful planning, the city aims to sustainably manage this boom to benefit local businesses and maintain its high quality of life, that according to the city of Elgin. A late-night dispute in Elgin on November 13th ended tragically when police discovered a deceased adult male at a residence in the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue. The incident, which police described as isolated, with all involved parties known to each other, prompted an immediate investigation by the Major Investigations Division, authorities assuring that there are no ongoing threat to the community. Thursday, November 21st at the Golden Skillet Family Restaurant, the latest Coffee with a Cop session will take place from 8:30 until 9:30 a.m. at 740 West Chicago Street in Elgin. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Cruden.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Rewards, because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbor said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
As the Elgin Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign, they wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
This is WRMN News.
I'm Marky B reporting. We start with Elgin Crime Time, Wednesday night, 11:12 p.m. Officers responded to the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue on the east side in reference to a report of a physical altercation inside a residence. Officers arrived on the scene and located an adult male subject, subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives from the Major Investigations Division are continuing to actively investigate this case. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the community, and the parties are known to each other. The identity of the male victim will not be released at this time, and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the cause and manner of death pending the results of an autopsy. The Elgin Police Department will provide updates as more information becomes available, and we will too, right here on WRMN. High school football playoffs continue in the area. 3 teams of local interest remain alive. Geneva, 10-1, takes on Lake Forest, 9-2. Trailing Burlington Central in the third quarter last week, the Geneva Vikings rallied thanks to Georgia-bound Taylon Taylor's 96-yard kickoff return and a clutch onside kick call from Coach Boone Thorgeson. Geneva still alive at Lake Forest tonight. Batavia is hosting Downers Grove North tonight. Both teams come in with a record of 10-1. Batavia rallied last week to a victory over Lincoln Way West after trailing 21-0 in the game. And good luck to Sycamore High School as they continue to make a push at the 5A level. Have a great weekend. And join me, Marky B, Monday morning for the first shift from 6 until 10, right here on the Talk of the Town. We are WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
WRMN News Produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
Hi, this is Sue with Newman's Corner Pub in Hampshire, Illinois. Are you looking for the perfect hangout spot? Swing by Newman's Corner Pub right at the corner of 72 and State Street in Hampshire. Enjoy fantastic drinks, live music, and a fun crowd that makes every visit special. Test your luck with our hot slots and our Queen of Hearts drawing every Saturday at 3 p.m. Challenge your friends to darts or pool while you're here. Newman's Corner Pub, where every day feels like a weekend. Visit us at Route 72 and State Street in Hampshire. That's Newman's Corner Pub, your new favorite spot.
At Knucklehead's Trampoline and Indoor Amusement Park in Wisconsin Dells, you're in for a fun-packed family experience. There's a bit of something for everyone to enjoy, whether you're a kid or a kid at heart. A trampoline park, full arcade, cosmic bowling lanes, and many amusement rides located in their 80,000 square foot indoor entertainment facility. A great attraction for team building activities or just plain fun. Open daily at the outlets at the Dells Complex in Wisconsin Dells. Contact Knuckleheads at 608-254-7332 or visit their website at knuckleheadspark.com.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everybody, to Dino's Night Out, right here at 14 Douglas, WRMN, live in studio. Got some great guests lined up for today. I'm not even going to tell you who's coming. I'm going to surprise you with them. But it's kind of appropriate. This is Brenton Wood, is the singer of this song. And kind of an oldie, but it's from 1963. And you'll see why that year, 1963, is kind of important. It's going to come up in just a little bit. But, this segment, the 2 to 4, we do this every Friday, and it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I wasn't the guy to come here to be doing any type of, what's the word I want to say? I wasn't looking to be here on any kind of platform or having my own show. But you know what? I'm actually having some good fun with it. So that being said, we're going to get right into it. And you see on the screen, those of you watching with YouTube, the Arcata Theater, Ron Onesti, very dear friend, he's been supporting and sponsoring this show from its inception. We're talking about how we could even make it a little better. Some people say it's not too bad right now, but a little self-indulging there, I guess. But we are doing our best to give you some piece of what's going on in the area. And that's what I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to get our next guest in. We're not even going to take a break. Boom, we're going to go right into them. But again, what I do typically is I try and let everybody know what's happening. So here's what's happening in the Fox River Valley at the Arcata Theater this Friday. That's tonight, the 15th at 8 p.m. And the address is 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Zebra with special guest Donnie V. He's formerly with Enough's Enough. And Mr. Malone. So Zebra is consisted of Randy Jackson, Felix Hayman, and Guy Gelso. So anybody that's in the business are going to kind of, you'll know exactly who they are. But they're a great band. They have some beautiful music, and you don't want to miss their show. That's at 8 o'clock tonight over at the Arcata. If you're looking for something a little different, over at Rookies Rock House, and they have 2 shows. Well, I shouldn't say 2 shows. They start at about 7:15. And that's over at 95 West Main Street in West Dundee. That's Rookies Rock House. So what they got going on there, it's kind of like a birthday bash, they call it. And it's a lot of the DJ type style, like the old Master Flash and Jazzy Jim and all the time of different ones they have. But they have Jesse B, Bobby D, Laura, Tim Spinnin Schumer, Eric G, Bobby Styles, Jay Mazur, and Romeo Sound. So you'll want to check that out. That's over at Rookies Rock House tonight. If you're looking for comedy, we always throw a little comedy piece in there. At the Comedy Vault at 7 p.m. They have 2 shows on Saturday, 7 and 9:30. But tonight, it's 7 p.m. only. And they're located 18 East Wilson Street in Batavia. Again, we try to hit as much as we can in the Fox River Valley area. It's not just Elgin-centric. So many different things going on. And as we put this piece together, more and more you're going to see, just what's happening out here. But Jason Banks is a veteran stand-up comedian out of Columbus, Ohio. And during that 2020 pandemic, he created a TikTok account and started making content, which now has just amazed over 9 million followers, 270 million likes, and over 1 billion views. And that's a 21 and older audience. But could you imagine if WRMN had those clicks and had all that stuff? But we're not too far away from that. Give us another 4 months, and we're going to be in that same situation. And then we go over here now, Even Flow Music and Spirits. They have a 9 o'clock show, and they're in Geneva, 302 West State Street. And they got Era, I guess how you say it. They do classic rock. And they're Chicago's most highly recommended and largest drawing classic rock tribute bands in the area. You're going to like their show, and they start at 9 p.m. I believe the doors open over there at Even Flow at about 6:30. And if you're looking for something kind of real neat, you want to watch the boxing tonight, go to Newman's Corner Pub. You're going to go over there and see Sue Castle. She's our dear friend. She's been on with us many different times. But they're located in Hampshire, Newman's Corner Pub, 1000 South State Street, Hampshire. It's Route 72 and State Street. So it's Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It's going to be live on Netflix. So they're going to have that for your watching enjoyment. I don't know. This may be the Mike's last fight. I don't know. A lot of people are saying he's just trying to get his last one in there and kind of pass the torch over. But I don't know. You look at that size of that man. He looks to me, he's pretty fit. So I don't know. It's going to be a good fight. And then always right down the block over here on 219 East Chicago Street in beautiful downtown Elgin, we've got the Elgin Public House. And every Friday from 9 o'clock to 1 a.m., they do the karaoke. And you know what? You could be the next in-house sensation. So give it a shot. Give it a look-see. That's what's going on in the area right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a guy that is really, really, I don't know if I could do it with my headphones here too, but you're going to like this guy here, our next guest. So hang tight here for just 1 second. And I have to see if I can get my screen on here right. Here we go. All right. So we have along with us today probably the oldest broadcaster from the early days of WRMN right here, 1410. And it's Tim Schoen. I would say it wrong. Sorry. And it's Tim is here with us today. He was the news director back in 1963 at this very place. So that's why I'm wearing my hat, and I have my little, I don't know if you could see it. It's got my little press pass on there. So I didn't figure the headphones in here. So at least you got the gist of it, okay? So you know what? Tim, welcome. We're glad that you're able to join us today. And the wealth of information and the wealth of knowledge that you could share with our listeners, we just want to hear everything from soup to nuts. Take us all the way back from when you walked in here the first time, and we'll talk about how you got your background, because I understand you had that Elgin High School WEPS. Is that the call letters?
Yes, the Elgin Public School District, and I believe they still have the radio station WEPS, and that was in the infancy of so-called educational radio, and it was used to broadcast educational shows throughout the district. Every schoolroom had an FM radio, and they could look at the schedule and put the radio on in the classroom. And of course, they used student workers to do all of it, except Ellison Hoke. Doc Hoke was the director. He was a grown-up paid employee. And the rest of us ran the station. And of course, in that process, we learned the basics of broadcasting. And so that's where I started.
So this is what's given you the flavor for wanting to do what you did for all those
Yeah,
years.
well, I had been interested mostly in radio because of the technical aspect. The broadcasting always was intriguing to me, the actual sending the radio waves out through the air. I did go on to get my first-class radio telephone license, which has been changed since then, but that was a technical license, and it just fascinated me. And I'm an amateur radio operator also, so radio, the technical aspect of radio, fascinated me, and the broadcasting was kind of the content to support the technical aspect. So that's how I got to be interested and came to WRMN.
Well, that's pretty neat. So you got the opportunity right there at high school.
Yeah.
Got a flavor for it. Were you doing the amateur radio at that time?
No, that I did much later. But I don't think WRMN would have even interviewed anybody that hadn't come through the Elgin Public Schools WEPS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't think they'd have, if you were a young person in Elgin, I don't think they would have talked to you, because they would probably think, if they wouldn't say to you, they'd probably say, well, you're going to Elgin High School. How come you aren't at the Elgin Public Schools radio station? There's something amiss there. So it was pretty much understood that if you wanted to work at WRMN, you had to put in a year or two at the Elgin Public Schools radio station.
Nice. Internship, basically.
Yeah, so you had some basics. You knew what a turntable was, a
Well, yeah.
microphone. You knew how to hook the cables up. You knew how to operate the console, stuff like that. They wanted people that worked here to have some basic knowledge, of broadcasting.
Okay, so understanding that was your your training platform.
Yeah.
You had mentioned some other people that you had the opportunity to work with. We had talked, when you came to my house when we were doing Larry's party, and you had mentioned something about Steve Dupre. Is that his name? Dupre?
Yeah, Steve Dupre was did sports. He had said he had worked Big Ten football games. He'd done Big Ten football games. So they would send Steve out with a microphone and stuff to do various football games, high school football games, and they would have me come along, and I would do the color. And
Oh, nice.
Steve would do the actual play-by-play. And I don't know if Steve's still around anymore. His family was quite prominent in West Dundee back in the day, but I don't know, anything about him after that.
You had mentioned another name, and I happened to bump into Floyd Brown.
Oh yeah.
And where
yeah.
was Floyd from? Did he work with WGN for a while, or?
Oh
was it-
yeah. Well, he went from here to WGN. He was, I think, originally came from the South. Not positive exactly where he was born and all that, but he lived right up here on Douglas Avenue. And of course, he left here and went to some sketchy station in Chicago that didn't work out all that well. But then through all that, he got on at WGN, which was a fantastic opportunity for Floyd.
One of the gentlemen that does the sports that we've worked with, and I had opportunity, was Jeff Myers. Did you ever work with Jeff?
No,
on the sports at all? Was he after?
He came quite a bit after me.
Did he?
I think I was done here by the 1965 or something.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
positive of the year, but yeah, we'd go out and do the football games. We'd sit I recall sitting in the bleachers and having a wire coming off of the phone pole. The phone company would hook it up, and then they'd put a wire by a certain place in the bleachers. I mean, it was really a crude setup, and I don't know if anybody really listened to it or if they got any sponsorship. I kind of recall some sponsors, but I just don't know how big of a part of the station that was.
Well, we recently put our toe in the water, and we were doing something out in Hampshire, as a matter
Right.
of fact. We were doing the football
Right,
games.
I've watched and heard
Yeah,
that.
it was
yeah.
pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, for
and-
putting it together,
No, I-
sort of quickly.
thought it was fine. And
Yeah.
it seems like there's a tremendous sports interest out there also,
Yes.
which is important.
Yeah. That town, no matter what you do,
Right.
they're behind it,
Right.
and their team was not, I don't think they did so good. The Whippers, isn't that them?
Yeah, I think that's the name.
Yeah, the Hampshire Whippers, and but it's a great town. I mean, that town is just, man, they're solid. They all hold together, and who doesn't want to hear their son's name, on
Right.
on the radio, and that's what it's really about. You get to hear, your son or daughter, depending on what the sport is, and we're now looking at the basketball again, because you talk about how the wire was attached to the telephone pole.
Right, yes.
So I found when I was doing some cleaning through here, the box is about like a duffel bag, maybe about this big
Yeah.
if you're watching on TV.
Sounds familiar.
So I'd say about maybe 22 inches, maybe.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it had this big cord that you would try to plug into a phone line, and then they would broadcast through that to like a repeater system.
Right. Yeah.
And, and Jeff Myers showed it to me too, because he worked on it. He says, yeah, Dean, this is the one we used to use. Because, Jeff picked up again where
Right.
you had left off with the other gentleman. So it's like, I mean, wow, the way things have transitioned.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're out there with a wireless brick that gives us that 5G connection, and we've got our cameras, digital camera, and we have the voice, we have everything going on. And it's like, you can't believe the way things are transitioning.
Right.
And then not only are you hearing it on our airwaves, on the stick, as they call it, on the antenna, the AM antenna, we're fortunate now we have that YouTube. Like right now, the folks that are listening and watching to us, they're on YouTube. YouTube.com, user WRMN radio. So if you're not watching on YouTube, put it on. I mean, you could see our past shows, they're all archived. And it's really something. It gives you, it's like a little mini TV.
It's fantastic. I was
channel.
thinking about that the other
Yeah.
day, that it's like a TV station.
Yeah.
And back many years ago, I forget the year, but Elgin did have an actual TV station. It was very short-lived because it didn't fly.
Well, I know that they've got that cable channel that Jeff again.
Yeah, well,
Bruce,
but that
Bruce Shippier is affiliated with.
that had a limited audience because you had to be on that cable system.
Yeah, I don't know quite how that works. I'm trying to get how everything is. We're here a short time, and really for a short time, we've tried to accomplish as much as we can. We've worked on our infrastructure. We've gave the place a facelift. You've actually could see, our letters are on the window outside. It's like we're somebody. We're here.
Well, this is not just lipstick on a pig here in the facilities. This is a completely different than when I was here.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting now was the show window of a jewelry store, and we were upstairs.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to come and see us, you had to walk up 25 steps,
Oh my God.
and nobody came up to visit us. It was one-way radio, but that's how things were in those days.
Yeah, and you're right there. When I first got here, they says, "Oh, Dean, you're going to have this best office. You're going to have Rick Jekyll's office, and man, is it huge and it's gorgeous." And then they spared no expense. But I said, "I'm going to walk up 25 steps." I don't think so. And it's not so much that I wouldn't walk up the 25 steps, but you have an advertiser or someone that wants to talk to you about a program. You're going to make them walk up all those stairs. So the first thing we did is we put everything on the first floor.
Yes.
And I think it kind of makes sense.
So it's completely different than when
Yeah.
I was here. I wouldn't even recognize it unless, of course, I knew. I mean, it's the same building, the same door, and so forth, but completely refurbished, I guess you'd say, rebuilt. I don't.
And how you guys kept positive, because I've been affiliated one way or another with WRMN, got to be at least 18, 20 years. And we would do different things for Knights of Columbus, for our parish. I've done several shows for the intellectual disabilities, as of recently, the past maybe 5 years. But prior to, like I'm saying, 18, 20 years ago, you guys were in this little tiny rooms. It was dark and dingy. I mean, we're right on Douglas Drive Avenue.
It's a whole different thing.
People are looking in, they go by, they wave at us. We have the speaker, they hear us. We're like you said on your little thing there, we feel like we're the big networks out here because people are looking at us like they do over on Michigan Avenue
That's
or
right.
what have you.
Yeah,
So it's kind of cool.
Totally different feel. And I remember when I worked here, the office where the people did the paperwork and stuff was open. They were I think there was 4 or 6 desks pushed together. And then they decided they were going to put up partitions so that each desk was like a little cubicle. But in those days, there weren't the fancy cubicles like we have now, with the nice furniture type things.
Sure.
So we had these desks, and then we had just plywood between the desks.
In
that was
between the two,
painted.
yeah.
So it was even more, you talk about
Archaic.
confined. And so when the workers would go up to their desk, it was like walking into a little stall of some sort. And it was up to the ceiling, and it was just plywood nailed together. I just remember there were jokes about it when they did it. It looked like horse stalls.
Yeah.
That's what some guy told me.
I'm going to try something here. I'm going to play this. Tell me if you like this. Remember hearing that?
Yeah.
Now, is this one of the jingles that
No.
you were speaking of that they
No.
brought back?
No, this was, I don't remember exactly if this was here when I was here, but this was a group of local people, had some kind of group, and they put this together.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I know there's a couple verses to it. It's actually pretty good. Mark plays it a lot in the morning.
Yeah, I get a kick out of hearing it, but I don't think it was anything jingle put together for the station or anything, And I think, people would bring stuff in all the time. And I remember a man brought in, he was with a church, local church, and he brought in a record he'd made, and the church had made, I guess it was a choir or something. He kept wanting us to play it, and every time we listened to it, in the beginning it wasn't edited properly, and you could hear the people talking about, get ready now, we're going to start recording, get ready. And then, so we all kind of laughed. I don't think they ever played it, but we had people like that all the time bringing in stuff. Local group put together, and they generally didn't play it. I don't know, there probably should have been a time, amateur hour, when they could have encouraged people to bring stuff in. I mean, it might have been kind of interesting, but in general, they didn't play it.
Yeah, but broadcasting back then was really, you folks did your job back then, because you were in those little dark areas, and when you spoke, it was like, you were in the Bahamas speaking like, oh, this is the greatest. And
That's right.
if anybody ever got a chance to see where you had to broadcast from, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's that upbeat.
I didn't think of it in those days that way, because it's just the way it was. But the positive vibes in the work environment were good, though. I worked with Floyd. He was a wonderful guy, and we had good times. We had good times. And
Sure.
So today, looking at what you've got now with the outdoors coming in and the nice colors and all that, certainly different. Very different and very supportive of what you're all trying to do here.
And we've got a host of talent in this building, too. I mean, from the engineer, my partner Dennis is also the engineer. I mean, we got people that do production, Ben. We've got our program director, Mark, Matt McNeil. He's been our number 2 for every single thing. He could run this board. He could do production. He could do, we're all doing this together. We got a nice gentleman now that's helping us out with our sales, Elliot.
Right.
I don't know if you heard him on, Mark's put him on the show.
I've heard him, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got, quite a crew here. And
selling radio time is very hard. I've
not
done
the easiest thing in the world.
I've done it.
But people are starting to recognize the value. Once we got the comments about the radio shopping, like it really wasn't hitting the mark like it should.
Right.
I think there was a organization, Groupon, too, that did this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you could be a million times more efficient and give something better, not only to the customers, but our partner. And our partner happens to be, is the person that has the restaurant or whatever it is, the item that they're wanting to share at a discounted price. And we were getting comments about it, so that's when we recognized we had to do something. But Tim better than anybody what this music means. We're at the bottom of the hour, which is a hard break, and I'm here with Tim Skoning, and he's our guy. We got some great stories. He's going to tell you what he had to do just to get news stories, because he was the news director. So we're going to talk about what he did with the police, the fire, state police. All of them are around in the area here. So it all comes together. So we're going to come back with Tim. You don't mind sticking around a little longer,
No,
do you,
it's
sir?
perfectly fine.
We got some great more stories to share. So please stay with us. You're listening to WRMN. And we're the voice of the valley, talk of the town. See you in just a little bit, folks.
This is WRMN News.
I'm Marky B reporting. We start with Elgin Crime Time, Wednesday night, 11:12 p.m. Officers responded to the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue on the east side in reference to a report of a physical altercation inside a residence. Officers arrived on the scene and located an adult male subject, subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives from the Major Investigations Division are continuing to actively investigate this case. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the community, and the parties are known to each other. The identity of the male victim will not be released at this time, and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the cause and manner of death pending the results of an autopsy. The Elgin Police Department will provide updates as more information becomes available, and we will too, right here on WRMN. High school football playoffs continue in the area. 3 teams of local interest remain alive. Geneva, 10-1, takes on Lake Forest, 9-2. Trailing Burlington Central in the third quarter last week, the Geneva Vikings rallied thanks to Georgia-bound Taylon Taylor's 96-yard kickoff return and a clutch onside kick call from Coach Boone Thorgeson. Geneva still alive at Lake Forest tonight. Batavia is hosting Downers Grove North tonight. Both teams come in with a record of 10-1. Batavia rallied last week to a victory over Lincoln Way West after trailing 21-0 in the game. And good luck to Sycamore High School as they continue to make a push at the 5A level. Have a great weekend. And join me, Marky B, Monday morning for the first shift from 6 until 10, right here on the Talk of the Town. We are WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Everyone has a community to lean on. A neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe. Because when you talk, they hear you.
One, two, 1, 2, 3.
Boogum now, baby, you're casting your spell on me. I say boogum now, baby, you're casting your spell on me.
Hey, and we're back. You're listening to WRMN 1410, Dino's Night Out. I got the pleasure to have Tim Skoning with us. He was the news director back in 1963 right here at WRMN. You always know why I play that music. I just love it. So you know what? We're going to keep that music going. And just to let you guys know, anybody wants to call in, please do. Call in our studio live line, which is 847-931-1410. 847-931-1410. If you want to hit up that Image 360 line, you can do that too. And that's 505-926-1410. So we've already talked about being on the YouTube. If you're a YouTube user, you go youtube.com. That's got like a /user, another / WRMN radio. If you have those smart speakers, just say WRMN radio and boom, it's going to come on. And if you had your radio on and you had a smart speaker, I think we activated it. I'm going to do it again. WRMN radio. So get you mad at us. Don't want to do that, but still, that's how you get a hold of us. So make a phone call here if you have any questions for Tim. He's got a wealth of knowledge we're going to dive into in just a few minutes. What it really was like back then to get news. I mean, today, right now, we go to the internet, we got news. People don't have newspapers much anymore, but you internet, boom, you got news. You go to the different websites for the different police departments, you got news. But Tim is going to tell us just exactly what he had to do. I mean, I'm going to just break the ice with it. 4:45 in the morning, every day, he would have to get up and go to the police station. And that just set the stage. You take it from there, Tim. What happened that you had to do this?
Well, the first stop was where I parked my car today. I parked there in kind of respect of the old days. But the parking garage now at Spring and Chicago Street, that's where the police station was. It was an old red brick building. And they would have a wooden box there, and it would have copies of the reports that the officers made out. And I was free to go in there and take that box. And, of course, we didn't have cameras or copy machines or anything like that. So I would have to look at every report. And usually there was about 20 to 25 reports that came in the last 24 hours. And I would actually have to take notes on that, write everything down. And in those days, we did every fender bender and lost cat and you name it. We put it on the air. People wanted to hear that. So I would write this stuff down in a notebook, take all the names and everything. And then that was my first stop at the Elgin Police Department. Then I went over to the state police, which were in the armory over there at Raymond and National. And they had a similar setup with a box with the copies of reports in there. And I would copy that information down. So a lot of times we'd get accidents on the tollway, or I remember there was a famous entertainer that was in the District 2 State Police who committed suicide, a woman, female vocalist, I can't remember who it was, and that was a pretty good find, and accidents, all kinds of stuff. And after I'd take those notes, then I would come back to the station and I would type it all up. And our first newscast was, local news was at 6:30. And so that would be a time, it was a 5-minute newscast, and we had the really hard-hitting news of anything of significance around town. And then, of course, as the morning went on, I would work on these other stories. But then about 9 o'clock, the fire department invited us to come over and pick up the fire department reports. And the fire department was in that same area of where the police department was. So I'd walk up there, and they had another thing. They had a box with copies of reports in it. And then I'd come back and write all that stuff up. Then we did births, so we call the hospitals. And today you probably can't even do it because of HIPAA and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So, but in those days, everybody wanted their births on the air. Except when my child was born, I asked them to keep it out of the paper and to keep it off of the radio because I didn't want a bunch of insurance people calling me. Because that's, if you put if somebody knew that you just had a baby, the phone would start ringing and the salesman and saleswomen would start banging on your door to try to sell you stuff. Then at, I don't know, about 10:30, I'd start calling the funeral homes, and I'd get all the obituaries. And then we had this big newscast at noon. All this stuff was included. I think it was a half-hour newscast. And we did the police reports, the fire reports, the births, the deaths, anything else of significance in that regard. And that was sponsored by, I recall, Osco Drugs, which was right down the street here from the radio station. They sponsored a lot of it. And the car dealers were very big sponsors of the newscasts like that. So, and I worked till about 2:30. Now, the only downside of this is that I didn't cover any like council meetings or school board meetings, which are very important. But when you're getting up at 3:30 in the morning and working 8 or 9 hours pretty solidly, you really don't have a lot of energy left to go out to council meetings and school board meetings, which were important things, but we just didn't seem to cover that. People were mostly interested in the news, the fires, the deaths, the obituaries, all that kind of stuff.
The births and what have you.
And I suppose in an ideal world, we would have had another person that would have gone out and done those evening things. But I worked 6 days a week, and I had that schedule Monday through Saturday, and then they had some part-time people who would come in on Sunday. They weren't completely reliable, though. And so sometimes they'd call me up and say, hey, Tim, the news person didn't show up. Can you come in? So I would, of course, come in. But I remember one time I was working here Sunday because the person who was supposed to be here wasn't here. And we had a big fire on the east side of Elgin. And I called somebody up, another part-time employee, and I said, hey, could you just go out and see if you could get some information about the fire? I forget what it was. It was a business of some sort. And he said, oh, yeah, I'll be right on it. Now, where is it? And like he's taken down all the information and everything. And I expected a phone call later. I thought we could have a report from the scene, because it was a pretty big deal. And the man never called me, and I called him back. He had no intention of doing it.
Yeah, he fell back to sleep. That's all.
No, I got busy, and I said, but it's a place that's burning now. We don't want to hear from you after
news is news when it's live and when it's
after
happening.
It's put out.
What good is it after?
But that was the thing that kind of ingratiated me around here, that I was very reliable, and I understood the immediacy of this stuff.
Yeah, the urgency of getting out there and getting that report.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I did that 6 days a week. And by the way, I worked all the holidays. I worked Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. If it was Monday through Saturday, I worked it,
And earlier, I had showed that press photographer pass.
Yeah.
And they used to have, my career path years ago, and again, mine started in 76. So you used to have little items like that allowed you to get through a fire line.
Right.
Because, there were credentials, whether you were checked out or not. And, you were able to get closer, get some pictures. And, even though this is radio, you would still get pictures, share them with the news, organizations. But, even with today, as I've watched the transition, they got that Freedom of Information Act. So you used to just go to a box and just take out any report you wanted. There was no redacting of any names. Like you said, you had one was a movie star that, you picked up on the story and you were able to get that out. And there was no one that says, oh, no, you can't report that.
Well, there would be stories that they didn't put in the box. They didn't bother redacting. They just kept it from you.
Well, that was something if it's an ongoing investigation, I would assume. Wasn't it or no?
I don't know what the exact reason were. I know one time there were a bunch of the high school football players got picked up for drunk driving or something like that. And even though I don't think we could have used most of the names because they were under 18, that was disappeared.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure somebody somewhere talked to the police and said, listen, don't put this stuff out. for public release. My kid, it's going to hurt my kid and this and that. So that kind of stuff went on. There was a car accident over by where the railroad crosses south Route 31 there by that public housing. Like once every 3 months, a train goes through there, and it hit a car, and it was a terrible accident, I guess. And that wasn't in the box. Now, I never found out why exactly. I did finally get enough information to put a story together, but it wasn't easy, and they were not forthcoming at all. So I don't know if it was some prominent person, a DUI with a prominent person involved. I never found out really why, and I don't think I got the names. But they just didn't give you the whole report. They didn't redact.
Yeah. Okay.
And they did keep stuff out of the box that they didn't want to be known public.
And you're talking the 60s, a different time.
Yeah.
We're in 2024 right now, and everybody's so politically correct, and they've got all these, like I was saying, Elgin is very proactive within their policing, Chief Anna Lally, and we're working with them. In fact,
yes.
WRMN, we're helping them put a podcast together for investigating, past cases. And Mark's been talking about it, so I'll let him, give all the explanation of what's going on there. But they give so much information right now. They have that, that Facebook page, I guess. And they also have that hotline.
Right.
So you could go to if, you see something going on in your neighborhood. Now, you got to understand, some things you can't broadcast.
Right.
Especially if you're looking for somebody and maybe he didn't change yet. We don't want to be putting out what you're looking for.
Right.
For a couple of reasons. Let the professionals do what they have to do, follow up on their leads. So that's what I was getting at. Like, did you bump into redacting or of any type or censorship? But yours was just, again, you're talking the 60s, a different time. Look, you don't have that report, and that's all there was to it. There was no questioning it or nothing.
Being 19 or 20 years old, I hadn't developed what I would call, in reflection, I hadn't developed good judgment.
Yeah, and I forget, you were only 19 and 20.
19 or 20. So the problem was, if you got a hold of a report that had something in it that was a little questionable, and you put it out over the air, your sources tend to shut down. So you had to use rather than somebody redacting for you, you had to use your best judgment and say,
you know what? We have a phone call.
Okay.
So hold on. Let's see if I do this right.
Okay.
Welcome to WRMN, caller. How are you?
I'm doing good. What about you all?
We couldn't be better. Who's this calling?
John.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing good. I was wondering if I can give you all my number, but we can stay in contact.
You want to stay in contact?
Yeah.
Regarding what, John?
I even want to hang out and party.
Say that again, sir?
I want to hang out and party.
Oh, you want to hang out and party? Not a problem. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'll get you off the air, and I'll get your phone number so the whole world don't hear it, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, that was John. We'll get his number in just a little bit. I got the engineer getting that phone number, and we'll talk to him. He wants to hang out and party. How about that?
I don't know John, but
I don't know John either.
There's a lot of Johns, in
yeah,
the
there
world.
sure is. In fact, I used it before I went on the radio here today.
So anyway, that was the process. Now, we did it one time, and I don't know how or why this came to be, but at one time, there was a person who covered Kane County courts.
Okay.
And the station hired him to give us notable news stuff from the court. And part of that information he provided were divorces. And we actually read a few of these divorces on the air. And there was a lot of negative feedback from the participants in the divorces.
Yeah, I bet there would be.
Because you're reading John Smith is charged with infidelity, and his wife is suing him for the house and the boat and the car and everything. And boy, the phone lines lit up, but not in a good way. So I think we only did that a couple days.
Yeah, that's all right. You got the attention of everybody, though, right?
But in looking back, and with the maturity that I have now, I just can't imagine why anybody, including me, thought that was a good idea.
Well, again, it got attention. People do things like that all the time. You see all these TikTok things on your phone and what
Right,
have you.
right.
Well, they do it for for the clicks, like I was saying about that one guy, and they just do it to get the exposure.
Well,
As
we
they
got a
say,
lot
go
of phone
viral.
calls. We got a lot of
negative
feedback.
ones. Yeah, I
what are
bet
you
you do.
putting that stuff on the air? That's my
Yeah,
wife
little-
and my
little
brother and all this kind of stuff. So that was a bad idea.
Well, I could see if he was doing something maybe a little more illicit, but if you're talking about someone's personal life
Yeah.
of a divorce,
Yeah.
maybe that was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Not like, again, they have those sting operations where sometimes guys and gals will want to pick up somebody on
Oh,
the
yeah.
street. Okay, I don't mind putting their name out there. What are you doing that stuff for?
No, this was legitimate people getting divorced.
I understand. Well, that's good that you matured from that in itself. Huh?
Yeah, if I was running a radio station today, I would not be doing that.
That would be omitted.
That would be very bad.
Yeah. One of the things we are going back to is that community broadcasting.
Yeah.
All the stuff that you brought up and all the items that you brought up, we're doing now. We just had a recent fire. Myself and Dennis went out and we covered the fire live.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and we got some good comments from the police and fire chief because, we do meet with them regularly. Chief Anna Lally's here every Friday.
Yes, I heard her.
And I tell you what, again, I can't say enough about Elgin Police Department. We got some great police departments within the Fox River Valley, but one of the things we're attempting to put together is you've seen Mayor Reed from Hampshire. He's been coming in with Mark on Thursdays. I think he calls him MI2 or something like that. Yeah, it's a cute little name for him. And he's a great guy. I mean, my God, Mr. Reed is just a gentleman. Mike is just a top-notch guy. But we're trying to get the different communities, and we've been getting a lot of invitations to their holiday events, to their parades. We went to, 6 different 4th of July parades, not to mention the one here in Elgin as well. And, they had the Nightmare on State Street. We had the Fringe Fest. I mean, so many cool things happen just in Elgin alone. But now when we step out and we see we have Arcata Theater that sponsors and supports this show, just the entertainment that they have in their venues and what they have surrounding them, St. Charles, Geneva, all the different places, Batavia. I mean, we can name them all, even all the way up to Algonquin, Lake in the Hills. There's a lot of neat places to explore. The Dundees, East and West Dundees. So this is what this show is all about. But more importantly, what our radio station is about, Tim, is what you brought when you were doing your, as a news director. We're trying to bring back that homegrown, if you want to call it, boots on the ground. I hate that expression because all the politicians use the heck out of it. But we're here. We're here every day. 7 days a week, I walk through these doors with my partner. And our associates that have decided to stay with us, they work on weekends, periodically as well. Matt's always here, his brother, Ryan. And Ben, I mean, all of them, Marky. It's just, we have a crew here that's dedicated. We have a sports thing that we do on Saturdays. So to your point, this is who we are, that small station, but we're not small. We're big in what we're delivering, to our listeners. And that's what we want to try and get across. And that's why people are going to hear you a little bit more, because you and I have talked. We're going to start taping different things that you've done throughout the different years. And I mean, we're all very in awe and impressed with your, career path and a lot of the, accomplishments you've made. And watching you the way you, like you said, you matured. You were 19 at the time, 20 or what have you. But you've always been a gentleman with me, and we just love having you around here. So I mean,
thank you.
Our listeners are going to be, are definitely going to be tuning in and hearing some good stuff. And I got right now a real good guy, John Prigge, on line 1. So let me plug this in here. Hello, caller on line 1. Is this John?
Yeah.
John Carpenter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How are you, John? How can I help you?
I gave my number to you all already. He took it down from me.
Yeah, Dennis did.
Okay. Well, what y'all get into?
What do we get into?
Yeah.
We get into all kind of stuff. But you know what we'll do, only because we have a show going on right now, and I don't want to take away time from Tim. I got your phone number, and I'll make sure that we hook up and we talk and we'll explain different things that we're into. How does that sound?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wish one of y'all could call me like that real quick.
Yeah, as soon as I get done with the show, John, I'll give you a call. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, buddy.
And we have another caller on line 2. Who's on this line, please?
G'day.
Hey, look at that. How are you, Derek?
All the way from Australia. I can't
Yeah,
believe
see,
it.
look, Tim already knows who you are. Say hi to Tim, Derica.
G'day, Tim. How are you?
Better than I deserve.
There you go. You got the Australian good day.
Yes, it's Saturday morning here. I've just woken up. It's 6:55 a.m. Saturday.
Boy, you sleep in. I get up at 4 o'clock every single morning. And you already heard Tim talking. I bet you he still gets up bright and early.
I was wondering, did you hear me telling Marky B last night about, and Jake, about Cooper Pedy and Lake Air?
I caught part of the morning show. I was buzzing around all day, so I was kind of like on the bike today. So I didn't catch it, but as soon as I'm done here, I'll make sure I get up with Marky because he's still here, and I'll ask Marky B what was going on the morning show.
Yeah, it's just that my voice is coming across a bit foggy for him this morning, his time, last night, my time. So I might have to repeat it because he probably couldn't quite hear me properly.
Oh, okay. Well, we're hearing you pretty good right now. Well, I think when you slow your voice just a little bit, we're able to make you out because, number one, you're a lot of miles away, and you do have that Australian accent a little bit. So we have to try and piece it all together.
Yeah, Cooper Pedy is a mining town in South Australia, outback South Australia.
Okay.
And there's a lot of holes in the ground in the town and around it everywhere because it's a mining town. People, they mine opals there.
Okay. Opal. Was that what you're saying?
I've seen that on television. I've seen that on television. The opal mining in Australia. It's a very big business.
Yeah, and in Cooper Pedy, it's a very unique town because even though they have buildings above ground, people actually live underground in Cooper Pedy.
Wow. Does that have any relation with mining of the opal or no?
It's a what?
I said, is that any relation to the mining of the opal? Is that something that is done, deep into the soil?
2.
Well,
1, 2.
Derica, I'm going to have to let you go, hon. It's the top of the hour, and we're going to have to take these commercial breaks. So give us a call back a little bit later on, and we'll finish up this conversation. Sound good to you?
Okay.
All right, thanks.
How much longer you got left to go?
What's that?
How much longer you got left in the show?
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. You've been listening to WRMN 1410 Dino's Night Out, and we're here with Tim Skoning, and we're having a great time. I'm learning a lot. Like I said, we're going to have a few more of these, but we're going to put them together like in a little piece, and hopefully we could send them out to everybody just to get the background of, where WRMN was, what it's been, and then, of course, I'll be able to put the pieces in there of where we want to go. So thank you, Tim, very much for being here today. Can't thank you enough.
Athletics in
Glad to be here.
where runners and walkers have found their perfect fit for over 50 years. Whether you're just starting your fitness journey or training for that next big race, we've got everything you need. Since 1969, we've been helping everyone from beginners to world champions solve their foot issues. As America's oldest running and walking shoe store, we carry all the top brands like Hoka, Nike, Brooks, On, Asus, New Balance, and North Face. The gear you trust, the gear that works. But we don't stop at just providing the right gear. Our experienced staff will help you find the perfect fit and teach you how to use it in one of our many free run-walk classes. We're here to keep you moving and healthy with expert advice and personalized service. And don't miss incredible savings in our clearance section, perfect for making your fitness journey even more affordable. Dick Pond Athletics. Let's hit the ground running.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 3 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan. Brought to you by Verizon. Four members of the Kane County Board saying goodbye after their most recent meeting of the board. Mark DeVos stepping down after 2 decades of service. Mike Kenyon leaving his mark after 18 years. Ron Ford, known for his focus on employment and growth, completing over a decade in his role. And Monica Silva, who has served since 2010, is also moving on from Kane County Board. In Naperville, the Municipal Officers Electoral Board, including Mayor Scott Wehrle, convened to assess objections to nomination petitions for City Council candidates Nag Jaiswal and Fareed Shabazz. The board completing a hearing for Shabazz, ruling 2-1 in favor of the objectors, effectively removing him from the ballot. The Elgin Police Department announcing that they have a person of interest in custody related to a shooting that occurred in the 400 block of Douglas Avenue earlier this week. There they had found an injured man who was taken to a local hospital. His condition remains unknown. Elgin Police continuing to investigate. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbors said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-890-5957. 800-890-5957. That's 800-890-5957.
Rise and shine, Fox Valley listeners. It's time to kickstart your day with First Shift with Marky B on WRMN 1410 AM. From 6 to 9 a.m., join the chatter that gets you clued in with the latest buzz around town. Don't just sip on your coffee. Let Marky B brew your morning with the perfect mix of news, views, and moves. Dial us in or live stream at WRMN1410.com and make your mornings a whole lot brighter. WRMN 1410 AM. We're the voice of the Valley, and we're here to talk.
This is WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. President Biden and China's President Xi are set to hold talks Sunday at an international summit in Peru. Biden has sought to maintain a steady relationship, even while raising concerns about the country's actions. Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi is on the House Intelligence Committee.
On a bipartisan basis, we're trying to make it clear, along with the Biden administration, to the Chinese that if you pursue aggression, you're going to see countermeasures, not only from us, but our friends, partners, and allies too.
Last month, the administration imposed sanctions against 2 Chinese companies accused of directly helping Russia build attack drones used against Ukraine. And last year, tensions flared after Biden ordered the downing of a Chinese spy balloon that flew into the U.S. President-elect Trump made another eye-opening cabinet appointment on Thursday. News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas has more.
Trump has picked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. It's a huge job and a hugely controversial pick. Kennedy would oversee the Centers for Disease Control and the FDA, which approves and funds drug research in this country. RFK Jr. and Trump have formed a close bond since RFK dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Trump.
Kennedy is one of the most prominent anti-vaccine activists in the world and has long advanced the widely debunked idea that vaccines cause autism and other health issues. For WRMN News, I'm Dennis Green.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you've paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, you don't know where the products came from. How could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention Council.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
You know, yeah, I like this song. Brenton Wood, back in 1963, came out with this little number. And, right now, we have another guest in studio. Dennis Sonar Green. Say hi to everybody, Dennis.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, that's all. He listens well, don't he? And we're still here with Tim Skoning, and we're expecting another guest who's going to come on for our second hour, and you're going to love him, too. I'm not even going to tell you. I like all the surprise factor stuff. So we're just going to open up, talk just the three of us for right now. I'm going to go back to, tell them what's going on in the Fox River Valley, because the second half, I do what goes on Saturday. So you know what? I'm going to get right into that.
Yeah.
So here's what's going on. At the Arcata Theater, again, the Arcata Theater, which is 105 East Main Street, they are sponsoring this show, Dino's Night Out. So the Arcata Theater on Saturday, November the 16th at 8 p.m., they're going to have John Waite. And I know he's somebody because he was on WGN when Dean Richards was giving his rundown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's really good. John
what type of music does he do?
Yeah, he's got a 40-year career, solo artist, with the Babies and Bad English, if you ever heard of them.
Yeah.
His catalog hits features some of the most loved songs of the 80s and the 90s. So that's something to see. That's going to be the 8 o'clock show. And then over at Rookies Rock House, the 16th again, they have a 7 p.m. show. You guys like Ozzy Osbourne. I'm a big fan of Ozzy.
Do you get in the mosh pits, too?
Oh, I love him. He's the best.
Tim taught me how to mosh.
You know how to mosh?
Mm-hmm. In the mosh pits, right there, just going in, just swinging. Tim's all arms with the mosh pit.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of legs,
Yeah.
it's all arms with Tim.
Yeah, don't let him kid you. He's thinking, he's telling everybody he was old back in '63. He's not. He ain't old. He ain't old now either. So I'm going to tell you.
I was big on it, the mosh pit. Yeah.
You like that, huh?
Hey, I was in the pit this morning, right here.
Yeah. Well. And then anyhow, let's go back to what they're going on over at Rookies Rock House. It's Killer of Giants, and what it is, it's a tribute band to Ozzy Osbourne. Our new guest has just stepped in, so we're going to stop for just a minute, and we are going to say hello to Tom Holbrook. Tom, say hello to everybody in the radio land.
Hello,
and on YouTube.
WRMN.
So you got to look good, too.
Oh, I got to look good. How are you, YouTube? WRMN. What a fantastic radio station. Good afternoon, Mr. Dino. I love your
and
nose.
I go like that. In honor of Tom being here, because Tom is actually the voice and the body of Wizzo right now. There you go. If you caught my little thing this morning telling everybody who we were going to have on the show today, as if Tom wasn't enough, or Tim wasn't enough, Skoning, we got Tom Holbrook. And Tom's going to talk to us all about the Bozeum in just a few short moments. But I want to wrap up what I was in the middle of, telling people what's going on in the Fox River Valley. So we did the Rookies Rock House, and that's at 96 West Main Street in West Dundee. That's their tribute band to Ozzy Osbourne. Who doesn't like Ozzy? And then over at the Even Flow Music and Spirits, and that's on Saturday, 9 p.m., 302 West State Street in Geneva. They got Planet Groove with Losing It. So that's I just figured out what that was, Losing It. Get it? Lewzinit, Losing It. Anyhow, Planet Groove goes on at 9 o'clock. Losing It goes on at 7.
That's a great name.
It is kind of a cool name. And they bring the legendary sounds of James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, Earth, Wind, and Fire, songs of my era. And they're going to definitely be putting their show on at 9 o'clock. And Losing It, they're the best rock and blues cover band, featured some of the finest musicians in the Chicagoland area. And that's over at the Even Flow Music and Spirits, beautiful downtown Geneva. Then at the Arcada Theater on Sunday, they got Daybreak, and that's a Barry Manilow tribute. And he takes his musical journey from the 70s. I mean, you'll experience all of the Barry Manilow greatest hits. So he's the veteran in the music, and pianist Joe Haidt is his name. And he brings the life, timeless classics of Mandy, Can't Smile Without You, and we all know Copacabana, just to name a few. He's got an 8-piece ensemble that accompany with him. So it's a music, I think, really for all generations and all ages. So we've been talking here with Tim Skoning the hour before. He was a news director right here in 1963, if you didn't know that, Tom. And he's the actual only voice left of WRMN from the early days. So we're learning a little something from Tim, all right? But now we're going to talk about you. I'm going to take my nose off.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
That's okay. And I'm going to introduce you. And I know you got something coming up at the Gail Borden Library. Why don't you tell everybody what that is, please?
Oh, we are going to experience a celebration for Bozo's history. Okay. And the Bozeum is going to present an hour-long program at the Gail Borden Library, the main library branch at the Meadows Room. It's 6:30 on November 19th. It's an hour-long program. Fans don't want to miss this, as we are going to have Bozo prize drawings and the first 50 people that attend, the first 50 fans that attend that evening event on the 19th at Gail Borden Public Library will receive a free, I said free, Mr. Tim, free Bozo gift.
How do you like that?
Yeah, you can't.
You going to reveal what it is, or they got to show up to get it?
They got to show up to get it. I guarantee they'll be very pleased.
That's the way to tease them.
Yeah.
My son Charles, when he was a little kid, he was on Bozo Circus on TV.
He's a lucky man.
And he was on there, I don't remember the date, but you remember when the plane crashed at O'Hare? He was at Bozo Circus on that day, whatever, where the engine fell off the plane. My son Charles.
1979, I believe.
Yeah, my son Charles was on the Bozo Circus that day.
I was a fireman back then. I was actually at that scene.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, look at, we all these years later, we come together by some weird...
Yeah.
There has been some interesting footage that has been found and posted on Facebook. Most recently, an entire episode from 1978 from the Chicago era of Bozo. And I know if you search YouTube, you'll find numerous episodes, one in particular from 1979. I don't know if it's the one that your son attended, Tim, but to see those old shows really brings back a lot of memories and fondness for the fans of Chicago.
I'm seeing something here that the library has a register. So do you know how they have to go to register to be able to be, in the count? Because I also looked at it. I think you've only got something like 20-some seats left.
Really?
So, yeah, it's filling up pretty fast.
Oh, my goodness. The seating capacity of the room is 100 people. So I'm not really sure if they're splitting the room in half, so we're accommodating 50 people, or if we're going to fully accommodate 100.
From what it looks like, you've got some numbers coming to your event.
I'll be honest. I have been checking every other day to see where the numbers are, and a friend of mine says you should just stop checking because you're getting all worked up about it. I'm very excited to bring this presentation to Elgin. I'm very excited to have WRMN as a sponsor for the Bozeum. It's going to be a wonderful place for fans to come and remember the fun. And on the 19th, You do not want to miss it, along with the prize drawings and the free gifts. These are just incentives to fill the room because I really want to share what I have learned and researched over 50 years of my life. I'm 60 now, Tim. I know I don't look it, but, you know.
A young man, a child.
And so I've interviewed many of the actors across the country. I have diligently collected memorabilia, paraphernalia, photographs, articles, toys, games, and costumes. And speaking of costumes, we are going to feature some beautiful costumes that most people have seen images of, but they may not have ever seen in person. And it's really a kick to see those oversized shoes, the wacky wigs, and the frilly collar and the gorgeous colors on the costume and everything like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But here's a real special treat. We are celebrating Bozo's history. So that's 78 years of history. I guess you could use the phrase again. That 78 years goes back to 1946. And it was around this time in 1946 that Bozo the Clown made his debut with Capitol Records.
I like that.
Yeah, Bozo at the Circus was the first release.
And Bozo was here just recently at the Nightmare on State Street, as a matter of fact. If you
Oh, my goodness sakes. You never know what's going to come out here.
He had Wizzo along with him. How you like that?
Oh, Wizzo is awesome. I love
like
Wizzo.
Wizzo.
Yeah, Wizzo's
That's
a
my
great
guy.
character.
I hear you.
He's really a lot of fun. I know that Sven has been here for nearly 20 years, every year at the event. He really draws big crowds. And
He drew quite a few flies, too, if I recall.
Oh, there you go. He actually
From the coffin.
He actually debuted a new song right here at Nightmare on Chicago Street in Elgin. Yeah, they shot some video footage, and that's a real big hit for his fans. You know, not to digress, but Rich Coase told me once that it took him 43 years to become famous.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a while to be on television. He's going strong and moving forward. You know, and
absolutely.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having this great event on the 19th.
And we have something that the people could see that are watching YouTube. It's in the center of the screen, and you can see it right in front of you as well, Tom. Now, that's a collection of just not even a fraction of the items that you have, because I've been able to see what you have, and it's just totally amazing. But can you describe some of the things and maybe be more descriptive for those who are just listening? What's that collection of? Is that the nowadays era? Is that from the 46? When is that stuff from?
We have a number of elements and collectibles, photographs, costume pieces, and toys, and printed ephemera from various ages. From the Capitol Records, you'll see a gorgeous brass-like bank, a bust of Bozo the Clown's face as he looked originally back in the day. And you'll see a pair of shoes on the left next to an old-fashioned Bozo bank where when you pushed a little knob on Bozo's head, his hand would reach up to his mouth and feed himself a coin. And you could have fun saving money that way. There's numerous Bozo photographs as well.
Looks like a lunchbox in there, too. Is that what that is?
Yes, that was produced by Hallmark.
Darn.
Yeah, that's a reproduction of the 1960s lunchbox. The lunchbox from the 60s was a little bit larger. And you have a Bozo phone on the right-hand side, and right next to the Bozo phone is a little pencil sharpener, where the old-fashioned kind that we remember you would turn.
The old number 2 pencil.
There you go. And interestingly, I always found it fun when I added this piece to the collection. You actually place the pencil into Bozo's forehead and turn the crank. And I was just like, oh, that's very unique. And there's some ice cream product cup there, and the traditional Soki, the Hasbro Gumball Bank, and some pictures from the Chicago era show. There you go.
I'm also seeing a nose on top of that one cup.
Yeah, that's
just kind of like the nose I got on.
That's a nose actually from Red Nose Day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Red Nose Day is a lot of fun. Yeah,
very good.
That was released back in the day when Bozo was actually a part of it originally when it started out, and that's a lot of fun to put on and to wear. And if you look real closely, you'll see a photograph of me in makeup, which is interesting because I portrayed the character from 2002 to nearly 2006, where Mr. Harmon had me traveling across the United States from
Bozo?
Oh yes.
I never knew that. I knew you're Wizzo.
Oh yes.
There you go.
Marshall was a great friend of mine.
Oh,
He
yeah.
and Roy brought me into showbiz when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
and I was very blessed to have them as mentors and as friends throughout my growing up eras and such like that. But in 2002, when the show went off the air in Chicago in 2001, and I saw that there was still clamoring by the fans wanting to see and enjoy and have a good time with Bozo. So I made some contacts, and with the little bit of networking, we got Bozo at the King County Fair. So that was my first big show, was the King County Fairgrounds.
A really big shoe.
Oh yeah, we had a big show. It was Bozo's Magic Circus.
Yeah.
And so there's a photograph of me when I was performing at the Rouse Center in Crystal Lake. We did a variety show, and when I worked for the Larry Harmon Picture Corporation, the second owner of Bozo, and currently David Arquette owns.
Yeah, that's what I was
Bozo.
going to ask you. Who's the actual owner of all the rights and all the paraphernalia, I guess?
That would be David Arquette. Yeah.
The movie star guy.
Oh yes, he's making a big move with Bozo and ushering Bozo into the next era. There's a bright future for the character. And
Yeah.
They had a wonderful event at Madame Zuzu's Tea Room, which is owned by Billy Corrigan and his wife Chloe. 3 days of Bozo fun.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a big sellout.
And when was that?
That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, because they just had an accident over there to
Oh,
where
my.
his mother-in-law, I think, was struck by the car. Thank God his son was there or something as well. He got pushed out of the way, but I guess the mother-in-law, not that anybody wishes bad on their mother-in-laws, but the mother-in-law, I believe, was, maybe tapped a little bit, but everybody was
Scary.
healthy and okay, yeah.
That beautiful tea room is right next to the train station there, and so accidents can happen. There's a lot of
sure.
traffic down there. We're really thankful that no one got hurt, and the Bozo event was a big success. And Billy and his wife Chloe have numerous events going on there. You could check out the Madame Zuzu Tea Room website to get more information.
And he's always behind any group or any cause, any organization. I mean, he's a real gentleman.
You know what? We were very lucky to have Billy come and visit the Bozeum as well.
Yeah, nice.
Billy came out, Mancow came out, and numerous Elgin people have been out to see and other fans that made their pilgrimage out to see the Bozeum. It was in a secluded environment where we didn't invite a lot of people, but those that did get to experience it got to see it as it was set up for the Collector's Call TV show, which aired in the summer of this year. And those type of things really helped to promote the Bozeum. And when we set up for the Wheaton all-night flea market, we had over 3,000 people come through.
Who doesn't like to see Bozo?
People were really taken back because we had a display that started from the Capitol Records era in 1946. Do you remember 1946, Tim?
I vaguely remember it.
Awesome. 1946, and then it progressed throughout the years and all the way into Chicago. We had original artwork, a beautiful painting by Conrad Hack, costumes on display from Frank Avrush's time as Bozo in Boston. We had the wonderful and rare and seldomly seen red costume that was worn in the Chicagoland area only. And
what was the significance of red only in Chicago?
There's a
Let's hear it.
background on that.
Go ahead.
There's a couple different stories. One story is that Don Sandberg, the producer and director of the Chicago show, who is also known as Sandy the Clown. A lot of people say Sandy the Tramp, but I believe that Don Sandberg preferred Sandy the Clown. He was a silent clown, and he asked Bob if he liked red or blue, and Bob said red. Now, there's another story that kind of sounds a little more truthful. Black and white television back then. We didn't have color.
No.
And, we were the first people in our neighborhood to have remote control TV.
Really?
Yeah, we were the first
Really?
family. Yeah, the remote control was called, it was my brother, and we just told him to change the channel. But
nice to be the older brother. Huh? Good to be the king.
In regards to the black and white television, red showed up better on black and white TV. So therefore, they used that. And from around 1960, 1961 until the late 60s, Bob Bell, the great Bob Bell, the first Bozo in Chicago, wore a red costume. The collar changed a little bit over the years. The makeup styling changed a little bit over the years. The wig styles changed over the years. But the fun and the how can I put it, pandemonium.
Well, and how about just the innocence?
Oh, is it
anybody that
beautiful?
sees Bozo, whether they're young or old, and if you're older like myself, you remember when you were just that little kid.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing Bozo. When I got to take picture with you guys, I mean, you made my evening.
Isn't that fun?
Oh, was it just
We
a
were
blast.
photo swamped when we were out there portraying the fun characters for Halloween. Now, I perform as Wizzo for fundraising events for Alzheimer's awareness and variety shows and such like that. And it's really, truly an honor to keep the spirit and the magic, so to speak, alive that Marshall Brodeen created all those years ago with the character of Wizzo.
So how would somebody reach you if they wanted to have some type of a, have you appear at one of their events?
Well,
you have a website or anything?
Well, we have the Facebook page. Facebook seems to be the way to go, and it's a little bit easier to handle than a website page. And they can contact me either through my own Facebook page, be it Tom Holbrook, or they can contact Wizzo the Wizard on Facebook as well. We also have a Bozeum Facebook page, and
nice.
people can keep up on what's going on here and there and everything.
And it's Bozeum,
Yes,
correct?
it is. Yes,
is
it
it
is.
the Bozeum or just Bozeum on Facebook?
I struggled with that. I just put the Bozeum.
All right,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So
the
they know how to
Bozeum.
find it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
great. Excellent.
Yeah, we had a great time, and when the Gail Borden Library committed to having the event, they were excited. I'm excited. We put together that wonderful display to entice people to register, and when I brought out the couple of books that I had published on the subject, the director at the Gail Borden Library was taken back and said, "Oh my," because the Bozo Chronicles was published in 2010. It's 700 pages and 1,600 rare and unpublished images. And it took a long time to research and put together, and I'm very proud of it. And it's really an honor to celebrate Bozo's history and to share my friend Bozo with everybody this 19th of November at the Gail Borden Library, 6:30. You don't want to miss it.
Well, I'm
Please
looking
register.
forward to it. We're going to be there.
Oh, awesome.
You're definitely going to be there. We're going to try and get, depending on the time, timing, and try and get it maybe a little broadcast on that as well.
Well, that'd be
if
a lot of
nothing
fun.
else, we'll get it on tape, but we're going to try and get it just to a live broadcast.
Oh, we appreciate that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
the WRMN is a beautiful sponsor of the Bozeum, and we're very honored to be a part of the family at WRMN.
Well, we love having you around. In fact, one of the things that we've worked out is, one of the little spots, we found some room for Tom to put things up. And you're going to be able to come to WRMN and see the Bozeum at the same time. So that's all in the works.
I can't wait.
We got a lot of construction going on here. We're working on, 16 Douglas, which is right next door to this room. And that's going to be a nice platform to where we want to get Bozo to come out and give a demo, whatever, some type of a performance. Definitely Wizzo, because you know what? Magic is what did he used to say, Marshall Brodeen? Most magic tricks are easy once you know the secret.
That's exactly
Like
right.
take these TV magic cards. Take a card, put it on the top. It goes to the bottom. Remember
Oh,
that?
you're embarrassing me. You know all the lines. That's great. Yeah, Marshall.
You heard enough.
He would lead in with, even if you're all thumbs.
Yeah, he was really something.
Yes,
When my son was little, I bought him a Marshall Brodeen magic kit, my son Charles.
Yeah.
And it was a little black cardboard attaché case. And
Yeah.
it had all the,
Had all the tricks in there.
Oh, he used to carry that thing around. And I remember it today, Marshall Brodeen Magic Show. That was great.
We like to say that Marshall Brodeen inspired more magicians than Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
Just about everybody who worked Vegas probably had a TV magic card set and or a Marshall Brodeen magic show set.
Yeah.
Marshall was a prolific marketer and creator. He created sets for Walt Disney, the Magician TV show that starred Bill Bixby.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Very
Oh, that
much
was a
so.
good show, yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting stories, which Marshall shares in his book. It's easy once you know the secret, and you want to go out and get that book and enjoy that. And when you come out to Gail Borden on the 19th, you will also get a chance to take a look at the Bozo Chronicles that I published back in 2010. If I can hold it up to the camera, maybe people can see the very fun cover here we put on that. Look at that monster. That's almost 2 inches thick there, Tim.
Is
Look
that
at
still
it.
available? Can people still get that book?
This was a niche published book right now at this time, and I published it to see what type of response that it would receive, and it is, in fact...
You know what? We're going to come back in a little bit, but go ahead. You can say real quickly what's going on.
Well, we're going to have fun on the 19th at Gail Borden. We don't want people to miss it.
Are you going to hang around for just a little bit longer,
I
Tom?
can if you wish.
Tim, what about you? You want to hang out till this break?
Yeah,
All right,
happy to.
folks, you're listening to WRMN, Dino's Night Out, and we've got just a great show. I hope you're enjoying it. We got Tom telling us all about the Bozeum, and that's November 19th at the Gail Borden Library. Tim Skonian has been here with us, telling us all about WRMN. So, folks, hang tight. We'll be back in just a little bit.
This is WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. President Biden and China's President Xi are set to hold talks Sunday at an international summit in Peru. Biden has sought to maintain a steady relationship, even while raising concerns about the country's actions. Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi is on the House Intelligence Committee.
On a bipartisan basis, we're trying to make it clear, along with the Biden administration, to the Chinese that if you pursue aggression, you're going to see countermeasures, not only from us, but our friends, partners, and allies, too.
Last month, the administration imposed sanctions against 2 Chinese companies accused of directly helping Russia build attack drones used against Ukraine. And last year, tensions flared after Biden ordered the downing of a Chinese spy balloon that flew into the U.S. President-elect Trump made another eye-opening cabinet appointment on Thursday. News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas has more.
Trump has picked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. It's a huge job and a hugely controversial pick. Kennedy would oversee the Centers for Disease Control and the FDA, which approves and funds drug research in this country. RFK Jr. and Trump have formed a close bond since RFK dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Trump.
Kennedy is one of the most prominent anti-vaccine activists in the world and has long advanced the widely debunked idea that vaccines cause autism and other health issues. For WRMN News, I'm Dennis Green.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network. What makes a great pizza restaurant? The obvious answer, great pizza. A local favorite since 1983, Pizza Pub Wisconsin Dells has been serving up the best pizza in the Dells. Year after year after year. Not hungry for pizza? Try the homemade lasagna, chicken parmesan, burgers, salads, and an extensive kids menu. Or take a trip or two to the all-you-care-to-eat lunch buffet. Pizza Pub, walking distance to water parks and hotels in Wisconsin Dells.
Michael Brown, former Undersecretary of Homeland Security and Director of FEMA, is your new full-time host of The Weekend, which airs every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN. Each week on the popular 3-hour program, Brown offers listeners a fresh take on the weekend talk with his provocative insights into current events, politics, and culture. So late in the day on Saturday, make it a point to catch The Weekend with Michael Brown right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Here at WRMN Radio, we try to connect with the community and discuss important issues, like our current mental health crisis. Here's Lori Baker, President and CEO of AID.
I think most people, when they see young children thinking about suicide at the ages of 5 and 6 and 7, I mean, that's shocking to me that children even know that they want to harm themselves somehow. I know it's difficult. I definitely feel the pinch. We all feel the pinch at the gas pump, at the grocery store, right, in our rents, but I think most people could handle 27 cents a day to help kids and seniors and people experiencing homelessness.
Discussions like this take place on the first shift. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10, right here on WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN 1410 Radio on Facebook.
Good afternoon and welcome back to WRMN 1410. Live right here at Studio 14. We are joined with Tom Holbrook, who's actually Wizzo and was Bozo. And we have Tim Skoning, of course, with us from WRMN in the early days. So I hope you're enjoying this show. I'm enjoying the heck out of it myself. I see a lot of different people have sent some messages onto this text line or onto the live chat. Starting out with our good mayor, Mike Reed says, sounding good, Dino. Thank you very much. Marky B says, it looks like I have a cold. And that was when I was wearing my lovely little nose over here. So I'll keep it on periodically because I'm a clown. And then what else we got going on over here? Jonathan Carpenter's saying hello. Brendan said hello. Hey, Brendan, how you doing? Nice to know you're listening out there. Thank you. And Carol Helgeson, she's in awe of Tim also. How cool is that, huh, Tim?
Well, that's my...
That's okay. I know who Carol is. Carol with a K. That's our girl. Yeah. So, yeah, we got a lot of different comments coming in. Again, I don't necessarily do all this, switching of the boards and adding this and adding that as well as I should. I'm learning. You're only looking at my actual 7th show on the air. So I'm doing my very best. John Carpenter came on here again saying hi. And then we got Charles Cabid. Are the WGN shows archived in a public archive? So I don't know if you know the answer to that. It was a question. I'll say it again, just so that it sounds better. Are the WGN shows archived in public archive?
The interesting thing about the shows is the fact that the shows were live initially, and they weren't taped. You would see the show as it ran, and people walking by, they were saying hi into WRMN
Isn't that neat?
Studios.
We were just talking about that.
Isn't it beautiful?
It feels like we're on Michigan Avenue. What is that? Channel 7 has their studio.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think this is a great community station, and Elgin should be very proud to have WRMN as a key focal point in the media out here. And so getting back to the Bozo show, the shows weren't really archived unless there was a special event or possibly somebody took some home footage. There's been some home footage that's been discovered and posted on YouTube. And now from the 70s, some shows have come up. There are a number of archivists out there that periodically find an old tape or an old film or some photographs that have been saved. You'd be surprised how meaningful it was for folks to attend the Chicago show or any Bozo show in particular, because there was always a large waiting time. And for Chicago in particular, over 10 years at one point. So over 10 years, that's quite a long time. And it's been said, and it was said at Billy Corrigan's Madame Zuzu's Tea Room, that people would file in and sign up for tickets right when they learned that they were expecting. And by the time the baby was old enough, the tickets in 10 years,
Yeah, there was quite a wait list.
Yes, there was. And it's really a great time, not only for Chicago, but for other parts of the country. A number of the shows were very popular. Every marketplace had its own Bozo show, and the character who wore the makeup endeared their performance to the audience.
I have a caller on the line, and I believe it's Madeline. She had kind of told me a little bit about the story, a little bit of connection to the Bozo. I'm not going to ruin it, so I'm going to let her tell what the story is. So here we go.
This sounds good.
And you are on the air.
Hi there, Gene. This is Maggie Byard, and I just wanted to let you know that I actually met Marshall and his first wife, Judy, when they joined our ice show in the 60s. And I was with him when he purchased the stone of Zanzibar at a little gift shop. And as soon as he saw it, he goes, "That's it. That's my stone." And they did his whoop-whoop, whoop-whoop, those wordings.
No. Hold on just a minute. Tom, do the proper little... There you go. We have to have the proper dialogue with that.
Yeah.
You're not just talking any kind of a stone. This is the jewel, the jewel of Zanzibar.
Yeah. And then we had a number of free dinners courtesy of Marshall's Magic Tricks.
Oh,
They
how you like
make
that?
our bills disappear at dinner time.
No, neat.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
You'll be
and-
happy to know that Judy is still with us. I speak with Marshall Jr. periodically, and he's
And
a
he's doing
wonderful
the magic
performer.
now.
Yeah, he still does. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, I've got to get hold of Judy to see how she's doing, the kids. But my brother Michael and I did an Adagio special on the Christmas special proposal show back in the 60s.
Oh, awesome.
I had
yeah.
started showing, Maggie had sent me a video.
Maggie, I would love to add that footage to the Bozeum. It would really be a privilege and an honor to archive that. As I was telling my co-stars here today, it's important that the material be archived in more than one place, just in case something could happen. And we hope that nothing ever does happen. But fires or floods or something, tornadoes, it takes it away. And many things have been lost. In particular, just to hold you for a second, in New Orleans, when that had that devastational flood, a lot of material and archived footage and newspaper clippings and such were lost. So if you contact me through WRMN, I'd be really privileged to archive that footage in any way possible.
Okay, Dino has it already. I sent it to him via text.
Yes.
So he
I'll
has it.
share
But I
it
have a
with
question
him.
for you.
Thank you.
You said you have the Wizzo costume?
I have a Wizzo costume.
Okay, because I think the original was in his lower level in his home.
Well, the Marshall has passed, as you know,
Yes, I know.
and the material that was in his museum has been purchased by another collector. But the original costume that Marshall wore, it's a fun story about that, and I'll have to share it with you at some point. But that original costume is owned by Junior, and Junior has worn it a number of times in honor of his father.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, he was a great guy. We all enjoyed his sense of humor.
Marshall
I
was
just
awesome.
wanted to let you know about that because being there when he bought the stone of Zanzibar and then how it became popular, because he didn't know he was going to do Wizzo on Bozo years later, but it became very popular, and I feel honored that I was with him when he did that.
I agree. It's a pleasure meeting you, Maggie.
Well, you too. And Dino has my permission to give you the tape, okay?
I'll give the tape. I'll share your number if that's okay too, Maggie. Maybe he's
That's
got
I'd love to have the
more
story.
questions.
Yeah.
He'd like to get the full story on that.
Okay, great. When we have more time, I'll sit and talk with you, okay?
Sounds great. You're always welcome here anytime you want to come by, Maggie.
All right. Thanks a lot. You
Nice
guys have a
talking
great
with
day.
you. Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Goodbye.
That's the beautiful thing about WRMN.
And that's something.
Yeah, people can come down here.
Yeah. Walk right in the front door and talk. To us.
And you're planning
on
to
it,
have
sure.
a place where people can sit and relax and have a cup of Joe.
Directly right next door. It's going to be like a little hospitality, or the terminology, world's biggest green room. So I got to make sure Tim keeps me in line with all terminology over here. But yeah, that's one of the things we're trying to do. The city's been working with us finally, and to get that place opened up. We opened up the ceiling, got the nice tall ceilings in there, and we're got some great contractors working. And
it's a beautiful space.
Oh boy, it's going to be something. We're hoping to have it here for time to come. That'll be like Studio 16. So like I said, we want to do a little Bozo presentation. Boom, right on that little stage out there.
I'd be happy to perform as Wizzo
we'd
and
love
do
to
some
have
magic
you.
shows.
Love
and
to have you.
Promote WRMN.
Yes,
anytime
indeed.
I
And
can.
this is to be, we want to be the center, again, for the Fox River Valley. We're located in Elgin. Everybody knows that. This is my shtick, my spiel. I always give it, but we are here for Fox River Valley. Voice of the Valley, talk of the town. We want to be everybody's community broadcasters, and that's why we've been doing what we've done. We're bringing it back to old school, which is why Tim is such an important part to what we're trying to put together, believe it or not. You're like, geez, why you got this Tim guy on here? Because Tim's got all the secrets. Tim is a gentleman. He's got the old school, old style ways of broadcasting. And just like yourself, the way you're presenting this Bozeum, and you're bringing forward Wizzo and Bozo to a higher spot that I think nobody else has brought it to this level. In your collection, once people are able to see it, it's all going to come together.
Well, that's basically what I was telling David this afternoon when we were chatting on our phones. We don't always get a chance to speak face to face or even on the phone itself, but we do text back and forth quite a bit. And he appreciates what's being done with the Bozeum to continue to celebrate Bozo's history and to showcase the character's popularity, not only in Chicago, but throughout the country.
Right.
Throughout the country.
Well, that's a big undertaking, what he did. I mean, getting the rights and be able to do what he's doing and promote the Bozo,
He wants
dynasty,
David wants everyone to let their clown out and to have fun and, as I put it, to remember the fun and to celebrate this legacy. As when Maggie called, you hear stories like that all the time because Maggie will always be like, people like Maggie will always be telling you the stories, and they'll be like, wait a minute. I have a Bozo story. Let me tell you what happened. My brother got to play the grand prize game, or I was picked for a relay, or I was sick that day and I wasn't able to go, or there's all kinds of fun stories. Oh, I met so-and-so at the shopping center.
Or the people at home, the Bozo, remember the viewers at home with the magic arrows.
Yes. The at-home player.
Exactly.
When they pulled it from the Bozo drum.
And they got the same prize.
How wonderful that was. Yeah, that was a great time. That was actually a creation from Don Sandberg as well, the magic arrows and the at-home player.
Oh, neat.
Oh, yeah. He created the Bozo bucket game as well, which is so popular. And in fact, some people have said that it was a predecessor to beer pong.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
But the neatest thing is how in Chicago they would put that silver dollar in bucket number 6.
And that was really something.
Every
and
day.
a Schwinn bicycle if you got it all the way to number 6.
Oh, yeah. And there were a few kids that did make it all the way to bucket number 6 and got a whole wagon full of prizes. And the Big Top Band with Bob Trendler would let it rip, and the clowns would have an exciting time, and the audience would just be elated the fact that a young child and at-home player won all these magnificent prizes.
And you had a partner.
Yeah.
A little silent partner. And then what was the, God, I remember it, they play it periodically, but they kind of low-key it, which I don't blame them. But what was probably the most memorable blooper was with that little girl. Remember when Bozo, I think it was Belle.
Okay.
He was a Bozo at the time. And she said something wrong or said like, oh, shoot, but and she says, he says, that's a Bozo no. And she said, cram it, Clowny. Do you remember?
Well, see, that's
I'm paraphrasing it, but
yeah, but I don't know if that actually happened in Chicago, and there has been rumors that it happened, but then there's also stipulations, and people have commented to the point that where that is kind of like been built out of proportion.
I saw a clip of it.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. You're very privileged to see that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can see Bozo, that's a Bozo no. You never see that.
No, I would have to see that to tell if it was actually Bob Bell or not. Yeah.
I think it was him.
Oh my, did it happen in Chicago then, huh?
That's what that's what I was piecing
very
together.
Interesting.
Because, it was just really something, and Bob was the way he could roll into anything.
Okay.
He did,
Yeah, I heard tell that it may have happened in Detroit or up there in Ontario with Mr. Servey as Bozo. I heard tell that it may have happened in New York with Bill Britton as Bozo. I've never been able to nail that down. And in speaking with Mr. Harmon when he was alive and I was working as Bozo for him, I asked him about that, and he's like, well, that's never been proven and such, but he was very protective of the character, and it was,
as it should be.
Oh, sure.
And I'm not trying to exploit it to make it a thing.
No,
it's
things like that do happen.
Just sure,
Yeah.
And it's not as if someone hasn't seen it already. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to keep the, again, the innocence, the dignity, the pride to the Bozo, and I call it a dynasty because what else would you call this?
Well, I really strongly feel that the character, the actor in the makeup endeared the character to their local audience. And here's something just the other day, WZZM television in Grand Rapids, Michigan, pulled out some archive footage. I believe it's from 1978, and it just was posted on YouTube the other day. And I had seen it many years ago on a very rude tape. And the station released it as a commemorative of their 75 years of broadcast history. And seeing that was magnificent. And it actually shows Dick Richards as Bozo. He's the second Bozo for Grand Rapids applying his makeup, which is like way behind the scenes. And in fact, the video is called Behind the Scenes of the Bozo Show. And people can check that out on YouTube right now.
So, you've referenced a few things that maybe you could clarify. Like, it's the first time I'm hearing Dick Richards, and you said he was Bozo number 2.
In Grand Rapids.
In Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
So how many different markets were there of Bozo?
Mr. Harmon has stated that there were over 200 Bozos trained by him. There were numerous Bozo shows that were not as elaborate as the Chicago show. They didn't have as many characters. They didn't have a big top band. The Bozo character may have been just a wraparound on a cartoon show where he introduced the cartoons. There may have been just a cartoon show per se and no actor whatsoever. But there is over 200 actors. I heard tell through another Bozo actor who was around the time that I was hired, and he said that I was probably around Bozo number 218 or something like that. Yeah.
Would you say which area was the most popular and had the most notoriety, would you say?
Well, I don't want to take anything away from Chicago. Every marketplace enjoyed their Bozo. And when Mr. Harmon tried to syndicate specifically the Boston-based TV show throughout the remaining markets or into new markets, the stations were apprehensive and they wanted to continue their local Bozo who had the same type of accent, knew about the area and the people, and had endeared himself to the audience already. Frank Avrush was Bozo in Boston for nearly 2 decades, and Dick Richards up in Grand Rapids, Michigan for just as long, if not a little bit longer. His show is the second longest running Bozo show. My friend David Eaton, which I published his autobiography, Being Bozo. I published this in 2020. He was Bozo in the Ohio marketplace on a short-lived UHF station that a lot of stations bottomed out. And this was one of the stations that the show lasted 16 months.
Okay.
So there were some Bozos that were for a year or more. So there were some Bozos shows that ran for 40 years, like in Chicago, which is a rarity. And as we know, the Chicago show continued because the station was apprehensive about letting it go. But initially, after a while, they did, and they replaced it with the news and such. And when Joey Dioria, the great Joey Dioria, voice actor, and he was the second Bozo in Chicago, when he was at the Madame Zuzu's Tea Room that Billy and Chloe own, he regaled us all with the story of the last Bozo show. And here's one of the fun things. Now, forgive me, I can't remember the young lady's name, but there was a little girl. She was of the age of around 5, and she was the last one to play the grand prize game on the Chicago show for the very last show. She was there, and she's now in her 20s, and she's making her life. She got out of college, and she was there and she got a chance to share the photograph and the story with all the fans, and it was a warm, lovely evening with stories like that. And in fact, when you show up at the Gail Borden Library on November 19th at 6:30, and you come to celebrate Bozo's history, I would love for fans to bring their stories and their photographs. And if you can make a copy of the photograph, I'd love to add that to the Bozeum, because that's how this whole thing grows and it becomes bigger than anything.
Than anybody.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
The additions to the story and a little tidbit.
Every story.
Just like now we have this thing with Maggie Beyer.
How beautiful that is. Oh, I got goosebumps even thinking about it.
I saw the video, and it's really pretty impressive. I was like, oh, my gosh.
I was telling Tim on the break that when I was researching the Bozo Chronicles, that a young lady by the name of Laura Hudson contacted me, and she goes, I was on the Bozo show when I was a young lady. And I was just like, well, you're probably on the Chicago show or something. So I returned the contact, and lo and behold, she was on the very first year of Bozo on KTTV in California in 1949 in a dance troupe. She shared the images and the stories. What a beautiful way to add to the history.
And Bozo didn't look like Bozo looks today.
Oh, he's quite different. Yeah, he's quite different. And Mr. Harmon had some doings with that, and he changed Bozo's name. Bozo was known as Bozo the Capitol Clown with Capitol Records.
Oh, okay.
And Larry Harmon, marketing genius, prolific in regards to getting Bozo across the world. Thailand, France, Japan, oh my goodness, Germany. And so he winged out the hair. He changed the costume a little bit and gave him the name Bozo, the world's most famous clown. Now, it's changed a little bit with David
Greatest,
Arquette.
isn't it? The greatest clown?
Well, now it's changed a little bit with David Arquette. It's Bozo, the world's most friendliest clown.
Okay.
Yeah, because what David is trying to do is get away from the scary Hollywood image that has been made, with these movies to scare children. But clowns are not scary in most instances. Clowns are there to have fun and entertain, and clowning goes all the way back to the 1800s. In fact, I've researched the Bozo name back into the 1800s, where it basically originated in vaudeville and burlesque.
The Bozo name.
Yes, the name Bozo. Like it would have been like Dino Bozo, and then their last name, or maybe they Bozo Tom Schneider, or Tom Schneider Bozo. There were vaudevillians and actors that used the Bozo name. I have a unique story if we have a moment.
Was it more of a negative thing, like calling them a bozo?
Well, that's where I was getting to. The Bozo name actually pertained to like a tramp clown reminiscent of Charlie Chaplin.
Okay.
And the story goes that when Pinto Colvig ran away to the circus, every time the circus came in town, he would run away and join the circus band and play his clarinet. He's a very accomplished musician, very accomplished illustrator and storyteller. But getting back to this, he would run away to the circus, and the band leader dressed him up. And this is verified in his autobiography. My mother covered me in a crazy quilt. Once they dressed him in the regalia, the oversized pants and jacket and shoes and goofy hat and whatever makeup that they applied at the time, the band leader said to him, "There you go. Now you look like a real bozo."
Yeah, see? Yeah. And, and I remember back, there was a movie, you got to remember this one, Tim. The Blue, was it The Blue Angel? With Marlene Dietrich? And there was the professor that was in love with Marlene Dietrich and whatever. But anyhow, he ended up they made him a clown.
Oh, wow.
And I think I heard the name Bozo back then.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And it was German, type setting and what have you. But yeah, back then it was more of a negative thing. Like, I had a bozo.
Now you've added research to me, and I have to go and find it. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will. I have a number of notebooks on various actors and performers that use the Bozo name. And there was an interesting lawsuit during the Capitol Records years of an individual by the name of Larry Valley. And he was known as Bozo the Clown. And he started in 1915 with his father, Frank Valley. And Frank was a magician, and Larry took up a role of a clown, and he called himself Bozo. And it's verified in the archives at the Bozeum, and there's images and such. And when Capitol Records released Bozo at the Circus in 1946, it was a lot of hoopla, a lot of promotion. And after a number of years, Larry was like, "Wait a minute, you're kind of infringing on me. I've been using it for quite a while." So there were some lawsuits. So what happened was Larry Valley changed his name, or Bozo character's name, to Bozo the Magic Clown. And Capitol Records changed their character from Bozo the Clown to Bozo the Capitol Clown.
Well, listen, I know we're going to run out of time in about another maybe 90 seconds here.
It's been an honor.
Oh, you know what? Thank you very much for being here. I can't thank you enough. I think, you've brought a lot to our show today. Tim Skoning, you know what? You're always a great addition, and we have a lot more that we're going to be doing with Tim. But I just want to make sure everybody knows, listen, go to Gail Borden. You have to go to their website, and it's Tuesday, November the 19th at 6:30 p.m. I'm going to be there no matter what. So you count on me. I'm going to try and talk Tim to come on by, because he's that news reporter guy. Maybe he can make put some good stuff in print.
It's going to be a great time for a lot of fans.
But it's the main library, and you have to register. So there's that music, guys.
Time to go.
So,
Thank you, WRMN.
Thank you very much. Tim, any last words you'd like to say?
It's been great being here. I love listening to the station, and I hope it keeps going in that direction. And thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much for being here. Tim, Tom, so much. This has been a great show. This is Dino's Night Out, and it's from 2 o'clock all the way to 4 every Friday. Don't miss us. We'll be having more content. We're going to have a little bit more coming from Wizzo. Wizzo, sign us out with the famous little
It's a magical time. Doody 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 doo.
There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. God bless you all. And again, tune in next Friday, Dino's Night Out, WRMN 1410.
Come see the only train-themed restaurant where all the seating is on the tracks. Two Toots Train Whistle Grill on Main Street in both Bartlett and Glen Ellen is always fun and always fresh. Two Toots Train Whistle Grill serves 100% grass-fed beef hot dogs and burgers. There's also chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and more, all loaded up on 2 Lionel O scale trains and delivered directly to your seat. No one sits away from the fun, regardless of age. When a train arrives delivering your food, you'll smile ear to ear. Visit twotoots.com.
Are you looking for a dentist near you? Choose the one with the 5-star Google rating, Bender Dental Care in Elgin. We earned that 5-star rating with our super friendly staff, reasonable rates, and outstanding patient care. Dr. Bender provides full-service family dentistry, including tooth-colored fillings and crowns, and no drill, no shot treatment for small cavities, perfect for kids. Choose Google's 5-star dentist close to home, Bender Dental Care in Elgin. We're here for you.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 4 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Verizon. The Elgin Police Department announcing that they have a person of interest in custody related to a shooting that occurred in the 40 block of Douglas Avenue earlier this week. There they had found an injured man who was taken to a local hospital. His condition remains unknown. Elgin Police continuing to investigate. 4 members of the Kane County Board saying goodbye after their most recent meeting of the board. Mark DeVos stepping down after 2 decades of service. Mike Kenyon leaving his mark after 18 years. Ron Ford, known for his focus on employment and growth, completing over a decade in his role, and Monica Silva, who has served since 2010, is also moving on from Kane County Board. In Naperville, the Municipal Officers Electoral Board, including Mayor Scott Wehrle, convened to assess objections to nomination petitions for City Council candidates Nag Jaiswal and Fareed Shabazz. The board completing a hearing for Shabazz, ruling 2-1 in favor of the objectors, effectively removing him from the ballot. With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Rewards, because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbors said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 800-699-9043.
This is WRMN News.
I'm Marky B reporting. We start with Elgin Crime Time, Wednesday night, 11:12 p.m. Officers responded to the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue on the east side in reference to a report of a physical altercation inside a residence. Officers arrived on the scene and located an adult male subject, subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives from the Major Investigations Division are continuing to actively investigate this case. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the community, and the parties are known to each other. The identity of the male victim will not be released at this time, and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the cause and manner of death pending the results of an autopsy. The Elgin Police Department will provide updates as more information becomes available, and we will too, right here on WRMN. High school football playoffs continue in the area. 3 teams of local interest remain alive. Geneva, 10-1, takes on Lake Forest, 9-2. Trailing Burlington Central in the third quarter last week, the Geneva Vikings rallied thanks to Georgia-bound Taylon Taylor's 96-yard kickoff return and a clutch onside kick call from Coach Boone Thorgeson. Geneva still alive at Lake Forest tonight. Batavia is hosting Downers Grove North tonight. Both teams come in with a record of 10-1. Batavia rallied last week to a victory over Lincoln Way West after trailing 21-0 in the game. And good luck to Sycamore High School as they continue to make a push at the 5A level. Have a great weekend. And join me, Marky B, Monday morning for the first shift from 6 until 10, right here on the Talk of the Town. We are WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
It's easier than you think for pests to threaten your family's health. Ticks, which spread dangerous diseases, hide in tall grasses and even on your pets. Rodents easily invade your home, contaminate food, and can carry more than 35 diseases. Mosquitoes, which breed in standing water, transmit many diseases. Get the facts you need to protect your family at pestworld.org. It's that easy. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
Haven't been to the dentist in a while? Bender Dental Care in Elgin has a new patient welcome offer. Complete exam, regular cleaning, consultation, and x-rays for only $29. Okay, that bears repeating. A complete exam, regular cleaning, consultation, and x-rays for only $29. Bender Dental Care has a verified 5-star Google rating. It doesn't get any better than that. Family dentistry at its best. Bender Dental Care in Elgin.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show here on WRMN 1410 AM. I appreciate you being here with us today. It's also on WRMN1410.com in case you were, one of those people that gets on the internet every once in a while. I don't know if you are or not. AM radio reaches all kinds of different people, but if you ever are on the internet, WRMN1410.com. Awesome place to go. See lots of information. Soon to have some of our Facebook and social media feeds all put into it. One-stop shop for everything Fox River Valley and WRMN. My name is Dennis Green. I am joined by quite a few people here most every day. But today, specifically here on Free Speech Friday, we've got the executive producer extraordinaire, Ben Demonium Boquest. Thank you, sir, for being here. Appreciate that.
It's a party every Friday. I wouldn't miss it.
Absolutely. The 2 hours that we're going to be doing today is also going to be joined by Elliot Serrano. Thank you, sir, for being here as well.
Thank you for having me back. It seems like every weekend, I'm sure you guys are going to tell me to just stay home, and yet you let me in the front door.
We sure do. We appreciate it, especially since the front door is right on Douglas Street. It makes it pretty easy to find that front door. Come and look at us, wave at us, join the Honkers log, where you honk at us and we go, hey, somebody honked at us. It's a cool back and forth,
Well, it's better than some of the gestures I got last week.
Yeah.
People were walking by. Then we had that group of those, what are they, high schoolers who were just going to come in. They're like, hey, can we come in? We're on the air right now.
Can you vote? Yeah.
All kinds of great things. Of course, Action Alley across the street as well has some stories to it too. But thank you for joining us today. Of course, on Free Speech Friday, it is open for you. Go ahead and call in 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. Was there something in the news that you would like us as a panel to discuss? Would you like to throw in your 2, 5, 80 cents, whatever inflation's sitting at right now? Throw in your ideas or hop in on the Image 360 information line, 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410. That will actually take pictures and links as well. Please don't send like some phishing links and then just like, they always tell you don't click on links you don't know the place from.
Oh, when you said fishing, I thought like people who go fishing.
With a PH.
Oh,
with a PH, the fish.
It's like when it's Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, like you're a cool kid with a K.
Yeah.
The fish. PH.
Why is that they made it? Is it because it's like jam bands do it to fund their tours?
It's a phishing link.
Yeah.
Well, first off, it's phishing anyway, and then hackers just love play on words and messing with characters. I mean, that's why the whole the elite language of hackers, where they use numbers and all that other stuff with it. So phishing, because it's like a hook, and if you click on the thing, they're getting it, and then a PH.
But where did pwned come from? Where was
Pwned?
it? Like with it's spelled
that's
really
a whole
like
gamer. That's a whole gamer side of everything too.
Pawned and owned.
Yeah.
Pawned and owned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Owned. Yeah, that's a whole. We can Free Speech Friday. You know, you never know. You never know which direction you're gonna go.
And as always, I'm here to just derail everybody's conversation.
No, we all do our fair share of derailing over here. But the track that we're trying to get on today is on track with everybody, right? Populism is popular for a reason, and by definition, it is popular. So why aren't candidates running on these things? We gathered together a few ideas that everybody in the nation seems to, at least the majority of it, the upwards of the, I think the lowest number we have might be in the 70s or something like that. But for the most part, this is everything that Americans want. Why can't we get it from either party? So we're going to talk about that and see if this is the time, is this the fertile ground for that third party run? I know there are some mixes between the cabinetry that are happening with these appointments. And honestly, I think the glue that holds all these people together isn't necessarily ideology, but it is the loyalty to Trump. One of the good things of picking everybody who's loyal to you is they aren't necessarily loyal to each other. So they may not all have that same homogenous mindset of we all got to march in the thing, other than we've got to follow this guy. So they may have some conflicting ideas. I mean, you've got neocons like Marco Rubio with people like, who's that from Hawaii? Why can't I remember her name? Tulsi Gabbard. So, yeah, they're all maybe a little too war hawkish, but at the end of the day, they all take it from different sides. So before we get into the homogenous side of everything, let's talk about the real meat and potatoes, which is the chaos.
We're going to get plenty of that.
So let's talk a little bit about the chaos, because, I mean, what is it? Chaos is just opportunity wrapped in a different skin or something like that, a different coat. Sure. So let's talk about the chaos that's here. And first one that I want to talk about is Matt Gaetz. This is one of the chaos picks. This is the throw the grenade into the room, or the flashbang, or the whatever. Hey, look at this. This is loud. This is here. And forget about the ninjas that are surrounding you. So that's at least where I look at it from here. Where do you see this cabinetry, and do you see Do you see these appointments? I guess I should rather say cabinetry sounds like we're building a home.
You keep saying that. I'm going, I could use. I need to resurface some of mine. So yeah.
Do you see cohesion in this, or do you see different sects coming together, or do you see maybe some chaos brewing?
I mean, this is like when you put together your fantasy team. You say, I'm going to have this guy as my QB. I'm going to have this wide receiver. And then, but you really don't know how the team's going to perform until the games start. And, see what kind of statistics they're going to generate for you. I mean, there have been no surprises up to this point about who Trump has picked for his cabinet. Mm-hmm. Mind you, he's done a couple things which are just, as you said, maybe just for the craziness of it all.
No, do you think the surprises aren't there because these are people that have hung around him anyway, and we've already heard these names before, or is it's not surprising because these are people that are loyal to him already publicly?
That part. That everyone knew going in that he was not going to go necessarily for who's quote unquote qualified, but for who was the ones who would be loyal to him. We learned that in the first Trump administration, and he wanted people who were loyal to him. And then when there were established folks within the White House and the hierarchy that he butted heads with. I mean, the FBI director at the time, James Comey, saying that Trump wanted him to sign a loyalty pledge. And Comey's like, I'm not going to do that. And then they butted heads.
Yeah, we already took an oath.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the loyalty is to the Constitution, not to a person in office. But still, the idea that Trump is putting in people who are loyal to him, not a surprise. And you could see this is kind of the result of years of jockeying. Everyone wondered why for the longest time, right after the January 6th insurrection, people thought, Trump's going to be a pariah, political pariah at this point. The Republican Party's not going to talk to him, and he's out the door. Lots of both sides, Republicans and Democrats, were saying that. And yet he still stuck around. And next thing you knew, everyone's still, trying to say nice things about him because his name held weight. He, again, very loyal base to him. So now you see the result of that. Everyone's saying, okay, well, we have to curry favor with him. If we want to be involved, if we want to be in the mix, we have to make sure that we at least say that we're loyal. I mean, now we're going to see when they're in what actually happens. Because the other thing, too, is a lot of these folks got to get confirmed by the Senate, and it's going to be a Republican majority, and they've already put in a Senate leader who isn't a Trump loyalist. So we're going to see where the rubber meets the road. To the point about Matt Gaetz, does Matt Gaetz get confirmed when we all know that the Republican majority can't stand him? He's the one who torpedoed Kevin McCarthy's speakership how many times? Almost got into a fist fight with someone on the representative House floor. A lot of people can't stand him. And they're going, well, okay, this could be a coup on their side because Matt Gaetz has resigned from the House. I mean, he's out because he's thinking he's getting this position. If he doesn't get confirmed, well, Matt Gaetz now has a job as a Fox analyst, but no longer in the hair of certain Republicans on the House floor.
His podcast gets an upgrade.
That one, too.
As it moves. Ben, with that, let's talk about Kevin McCarthy and Gaetz together. Is this where we're going to see the loyalties split? The loyalties to a functioning government versus the loyalties to Donald Trump? And I'm not saying it's bad to have loyalty to your boss, right? I don't want to turn around. Now, when you turn around and have to make that decision of who is that, most of the time those two things should come together. Loyalty to the president and loyalty to the Constitution should come there.
In unison, yeah.
At what point are we going to start to see maybe a fracture on that, if there is one that comes up?
Yeah, I mean, if you look specifically on that side of the aisle, I feel like we've been talking about this. There's division in that party, and you could see it in the way that the Democrats tried to campaign and take advantage of it during their campaign, that they realized that the party is fractured on that side. So I think you're going to see a lot of it in when it comes to voting to make the candidates actually in the positions. You're going to see it a lot, much like we did with the speaker vote for McCarthy, for Jordan, for the fellow now Johnson. You're going to see a lot of contentious votes on one side of the aisle. So,
Elliot, let's stay with Gates. Go ahead.
Yeah, so unless Trump goes recess appointments, which the Senate would have to let him do. Actually, if they call a recess and Trump can say, okay, boom, 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 which would then be the way that Republicans say, well, we didn't give him what he wanted, but he just took it.
Exactly. And that's what I want to talk about is the Senate confirmation that has to happen, because this is where I think Gates plays in. I don't think anybody, even within the party, thinks that Gates is actually going to get the job. I think this announcement. Well, here's the thing. I think, maybe Steve Bannon type of thinking in it, but I think it's because it works out for Gates anyway. You get to resign before the report comes out. I think the report's coming out anyway, whether it's leaked or whether it's released or whatever. The report's coming out.
Speaker Johnson is already trying to block that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I think it's a committee decision off of that, and they're already going to do it. But either way,
in bringing that up, though, I saw Senator or Representative Jim Jordan reach out or speak out to say he wanted it released.
See,
so
and that's what I mean.
division.
Is they're not loyal to each other.
GTFO.
Right, yeah.
That's what I mean, is we're not seeing loyalty to each other or even then loyalty to a cause. We're seeing loyalty to a person. And if you're loyal to the top, it doesn't matter if I'm loyal to you. It can be as cutthroat or whatever else because I want to get closer to Ben.
Right.
So let's stay with Gates with this. So I think what's happening with Gates is Gates wins with the book tour or ends up on Fox or whatever. I heard there's an opening with Fox and Friends on the weekends.
Well, the new Secretary of Defense,
that's what I mean.
You have to have cool tattoos, though.
Yeah, so I think that's what's so. Even if he lands there, I don't think there's going to be the confirmation of him because here's the win on not confirming Gates. First off, everybody gets to turn around and say, no, we didn't just rubber stamp everybody. They get to turn around and say, oh, remember Gates? We all kicked Gates out, so it's there. We didn't confirm Gates or we didn't do it. So now they all get to say it wasn't everything that Donald Trump wanted. And you get to turn around and say, oh, you can't put Gates in? Okay, in the last moment, we need an attorney general because I'm not going to keep the guy who's been prosecuting me, so slide this guy in.
That's if you can sell Trump on that idea.
You think Trump 100% is going with Gates? You don't think he's playing a game with Gates? He wants Gates to do it.
He wants Gates in there. I mean, again, I'm sorry. I know a lot of folks will say that Trump is playing three-dimensional chess.
Well, I think the party is.
The party.
Is he the one going along with it?
All chess is three-dimensional chess.
That's true.
There's yeah, there we go. Thank you. Well, it's on a two-dimensional board. It's, back, forth, left, right. It's not like Star Trek where it's, you have the different levels.
But what about when you move the chess piece?
Oh my goodness. It's Bendemonium.
It's Bendemonium.
Yeah.
But
just throwing it.
I don't, to me, I think Trump has always been very much, he likes things his way. He wants to get things his way. And let's be honest, right now, he's been doing things his way and nothing has proven him wrong.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, if I were Donald Trump, I'd be like, no, I want my guy. I don't want anybody else. I want him. This is the guy I wanted. This is the guy. I mean, let's be frank. Matt Gaetz has been loyal to Donald Trump. I mean, we're talking he started some stuff on the House floor for Donald Trump. I mean, say what you want about Matt Gaetz and how you feel about him. The dude paid his dues.
That's true.
He was out there doing his thing. And I mean, I think it would be unfair if he's just, speaking two-dimensionally, he's the pawn that you sacrifice so you can move your bishop. So there we go.
And that's what I mean. And his due is, hey, I got this report expunged for you. So now I'm going to get that over. Go ahead, caller. Welcome aboard. What would you like to talk about?
Good morning.
Oh, hey. How is it in Australia?
Oh, pretty good. I'm just having my breakfast. I've just had my bottle of Weet-Bix, and now I'm having a croissant and a cup of tea.
Ooh, appreciate it. Hey, can you give us a weather report for Saturday? It's Saturday where you are, right?
Yeah, it is.
How's the weather going to be like it? Because I got stuff to do in the yard.
It's nice and sunny.
Oh, I appreciate that. Do you have any thoughts on this Matt Gaetz discussion that we're after?
I don't know who he is.
Oh, okay.
It's probably better.
That
yeah,
helps.
I kind of envy you for that, Derica.
Maybe since Derica is living in the future and doesn't know who Matt Gaetz means that Matt Gaetz will not be a factor.
Oh, I understand that.
I like that.
I could see that. That's good. It's a soothsaying that's there. Hey, thanks a lot, Derica. We appreciate you calling in. We'll talk to you here soon.
All right, then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derica. All the way from Australia, Derica calls in.
That is so cool.
Isn't that awesome?
That is really cool.
I didn't even get set up like last time where, Elliot, you were saying something about Australia, and I was like, oh, actually, by the way.
Right. That was a complete coincidence. I had no idea that Derica, a regular caller all the way from Australia, and that impresses me every time. I think every time I've been in this chair for this, she calls in.
And she's really a good palate cleanser, too.
Yes, very
especially
much
when you start getting too much. Sometimes a train needs to be derailed.
Yeah, or if I'm telling you,
not in East Palestine, but if
there we go.
It's too soon. Sorry.
Regulations.
Yeah.
Regulations.
Too soon? Are you kidding me with too soon? Years. Anyway, so yeah, this is where I think that's a win-win-win for anybody in the Republican Party, no matter what happens with Matt Gaetz, because that is the chaos opportunity. It doesn't matter if they kick him out and don't do it. It wins for Matt Gaetz, and they can slide somebody else in. It wins if Donald Trump gets his way, and then, okay, I get that. I would much rather, I hate to be the guy who says that, I would much rather have Matt Gaetz than Eileen Cannon, who was also on the short list out there. Eileen Cannon from Florida with the documents case. Yeah, you want to talk about paying your dues. Oh. That's another lady who turned around and threw everything out the door to delay. But this is where I think the past is finally starting to, at least mechanically, shave off of President elect back. Because it was always, even in the campaign, it was, okay, well, this is happening, and that's bad that's happening. Now, because the DOJ is under his control, and most of these even state cases are all going to be delayed, I think he is going to start ramping up a lot more decisions, a lot more just point, get it done, as he starts to build momentum, because I think he's going to come in January full steam.
Oh, definitely.
I think he's spending this whole entire time not handshaking, not.
Interestingly enough, have you heard that they just started really working and like assembling and putting their plan together after the election?
Wow.
Yeah, it was
the
one of those
healthcare plan that they have concepts of.
That one's actually that's in the back burner for now.
Gotcha.
Just it's taking the spot of what all this preparation work which is usually done before. Just as kind of a set up constituency.
Was he genuinely surprised? I keep watching that acceptance speech, and do you think he was genuinely surprised that he voted?
He was surprised both times.
Yeah,
he was surprised both times. And again, I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I mean I'm going to sit back in awe and in begrudging admiration of the way the tactics were dispatched, deployed, and how successful they were. And again, something that everyone should learn from, and that even he, like here, we're talking, he drew an inside flush on that last card, not knowing, inside straight, like on that last card, not knowing that it was there,
right on the river,
and then boom, and it's like, holy mackerel, and then go for it, you got it. And again, whether you knew it or you didn't, Props. You got it.
Ben, will this make government finally more efficient? I heard there's going to be an entire new department of efficiency.
Yes, an off-the-books department.
That's true. What is this it? Are we finally going to get this instead of like, well, the Democrats won't let me do it, all the Republicans won't let me do it? Are we finally going to get maybe a little bit of, well, no, we're in charge, we're going to do this now?
Yeah, you saw that in the first administration where it was kind of, the rules and the process be damned. We're taking this type of action to go over the top and get this done. And you saw most of those things kind of overturned by the next administration. So it's like we were talking yesterday about adding things on laws on top of laws. It's going to be a lot of that, I feel like. One thing that I think is possible, maybe I don't have the most trust, obviously, in what they're going to do as far as, getting 100% of the right people in place and maybe ethically cleansing the government of what they describe as over-regulatory or clunky.
The woke culture.
Exactly, that kind of angle of it. But I think it really could potentially be a type of a reset to where the next administration has a cleaner slate to work with.
I hope so.
That'd be cool.
I hope that this is in the name of efficiency and not in the name of now I control everything. Let's be efficient. Apolitical Talk Show will be right back.
RMN News.
I'm Marky B reporting. We start with Elgin Crime Time, Wednesday night, 11:12 p.m. Officers responded to the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue on the east side in reference to a report of a physical altercation inside a residence. Officers arrived on the scene and located an adult male subject, subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives from the Major Investigations Division are continuing to actively investigate this case. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the community, and the parties are known to each other. The identity of the male victim will not be released at this time, and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the cause and manner of death pending the results of an autopsy. The Elgin Police Department will provide updates as more information becomes available, and we will too, right here on WRMN. High school football playoffs continue in the area. 3 teams of local interest remain alive. Geneva, 10-1, takes on Lake Forest, 9-2. Trailing Burlington Central in the third quarter last week, the Geneva Vikings rallied thanks to Georgia-bound Taylon Taylor's 96-yard kickoff return and a clutch onside kick call from Coach Boone Thorgeson. Geneva still alive at Lake Forest tonight. Batavia is hosting Downers Grove North tonight. Both teams come in with a record of 10-1. Batavia rallied last week to a victory over Lincoln Way West after trailing 21-0 in the game. And good luck to Sycamore High School as they continue to make a push at the 5A level. Have a great weekend. And join me, Marky B, Monday morning for the first shift from 6 until 10, right here on the Talk of the Town. We are WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
From morning coffee to your evening commute, WRMN 1410 AM is here for you. The faithful friend that brings you local news, timely topics, and the friendliest voices in the Valley. Stay informed, entertained, and engaged with our full lineup of shows, streaming all day, every day at WRMN1410.com or on the WRMN app. Wherever you are, we're right there with you. So why switch stations? Stick with the one that has it all. WRMN 1410 AM, your daily companion, your constant conversation.
Bender Dental Care, located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Bender Dental wants everyone to be informed, appreciated, and cared for at all times. To prove it, they now offer a new patient exam for just $29. That includes consult, x-ray, exam, and cleaning. Let Bender Dental help you have healthy teeth and gums for a lifetime. Located at 217 North McLean Boulevard in Elgin. Visit BenderDentalCare.com.
Be sure to catch the first shift weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. for important information like fire tips from Elgin Fire Chief Rob Sagan.
The thing in the winter that we're more concerned with is carbon monoxide, because that we don't get in the summer. That carbon monoxide issues occur because of heating equipment. Anything that burns natural gas, if it is faulty, can generate high levels of carbon monoxide, which in time can be fatal. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of having carbon monoxide detectors in your home. Every single year you will see somewhere in the country, and usually we'll get one or two in the Chicagoland area, where you'll see multiple fatalities in one home. You can't smell carbon monoxide, you can't taste carbon monoxide, you have no idea it's happening. And so it's critically important that you have the right detectors in your home.
It's the first shift weekday mornings at 6 a.m. with me, Marky B, right here on WRMN.
Welcome back to A Political Talk Show here on WRMN, WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I am joined by the panel here on Free Speech Friday. I'm just going to call anybody that's bigger than a group of two a panel. We've got a panel now, panel discussion. Join our panel discussion here on WRMN. WRMN takes your calls most of the day, Monday through Friday, and even on that Saturday morning type of stuff. That's 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. That's where you can call in and you can join us here on Free Speech Friday for A Political Talk Show. We're going to talk a little bit more on the show about political leanings that are the populist side of things, and I'll do a little clickbaity thing for you. Number 5 will surprise you, right? The little clickbait type of stuff. Here we go. Join our list, and number 5 will. Well, if it was going to surprise you, why isn't it number 1? If it's the most surprising, that's there.
You got to have something clickbaity. It's the picture that sells the clickbait, I feel like.
Well, this is radio.
YouTube.
FYI, number 5 is socialism. So anyway,
socialism.
That's my clickbait.
Oh yeah, that is a contentious word.
Oh goodness, that is right. It's a charged word for a lot of things, and I don't think anybody in the new cabinet of anything likes that word. Any of the appointees or anything like that. I think the exact opposite with a lot of stuff is that there is too much socialism already. I mean, if we're going to talk about defunding the Department of Education, if we're talking about removing employees, trying to cut $2 trillion out of stuff, like, so we'll see. We'll see how it moves from there. Do you guys have a cabinet appointee that you are thinking about, or we're like, wow, that is surprising, or maybe this is here? Or has it just been a parade of like blank faces? Like it normally is, right? Normally what it is, I'm tagging the honorable whoever from whatever state and putting them up into the cabinet.
Right. I had no thoughts about Lloyd Austin before he was named the defense secretary.
Yeah, Mayorkas as well. I mean, sure, I got to the political game late, really. I mean, if you really wanted to get into it, was the 80s where it was all the roar. But this is where, for the most part, like you maybe knew like 4 or 5 people in the cabinet. Like, and luckily, the Democrats seem to keep them the same. So once you learn a few of them, like, oh, Janet Yellen, she's Treasury, right?
Who's this Hillary Clinton lady?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just, are you getting surprised by any of this, or is there something that, like, that's honestly for me, Marco Rubio seems to be the sanest pick.
Ironically.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
it?
crazy,
Isn't that
right?
ironic?
Yeah, I get that.
I actually found, when I heard that Marco Rubio was being tasked, I was like going, for some strange reason, that gave me just a moment of comfort.
Yeah.
I was there going, no, actually, I can see that. And I mean, again, while I might not necessarily agree with him on a lot of things, and politically speaking, the guy he's relatively sane.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a nut job. He knows the law. He knows government. I mean, he's never done anything. I mean, yeah, his rhetoric sometimes gets a little far-fetched, but what he does is always within the guardrails of government.
And I think because he does it that way, everybody else on the list treats him like a little brother.
Yeah.
They turn around and they say, oh, goody choo-choo's Rubio, and like little Rubio or whatever they call him or whatever. But honestly, I mean, the guy has an honorable side to him to the point where you don't see too much of the hypocrisy on his end. Now, you will see some just baked into for me, baked into both parties in general. There's hypocrisy on either, oh, well, this riot is good, that riot is bad. Both of them have it. But Marco Rubio at least sticks to his libertarian type of cores, even though he is an absolute war hawk. The guy wants as many wars as possible for everything. I'm not sure where he gets his money necessarily. If I had to guess, it's probably the Lockheed Martin aspect of it. But what I've seen with Marco Rubio is he has the poise of a Secretary of State. He has that, look, I gotta talk brass tacks with you, buddy, and go right into it. He doesn't have the grandiose, paint you a mental picture of absolutely everything. Most of the time, he's like, that's craziness. This. He's really an analytical type of person.
I don't know.
No? Okay. What do you see?
I'm predicting Marco Rubio announces we're going to have Disney World Havana in 2026. Because we're Bay of Pigs, but this time we're doing it right.
Yeah. Capitalism. Yeah, I could see it going either way, because to me, it seems like as soon as Trump came around, you saw the change in a lot of people's demeanor, with just going over the top and kind of being sensational. So I think that a little bit is rubbed off on Rubio. But yeah, in general, he's just been kind of status quo old party and kind of riding that center.
And he's got to, and he's got to think about that presidential run in 28.
Yeah, again, another one. And that's where I think with Rubio, he's always been put in a box. They've always turned around, and every time Marco Rubio starts to move and get going, they turn around and go, you know what, that's just Marco Rubio.
The poor guy can't get a break ever since that snafu doing the presidential address rebuttal.
Yep.
And he needed water, and he couldn't get the water. The water was off camera, and he had to drop out for a moment because his mouth was getting dry. And then what was everyone calling him after that? Thirsty Marco? You know?
I remember there was something.
Marco Polo. Get the water.
Reminds me of the fish taco chain. I want one of those.
Elaborate on that one. The
Rubio's is a West Coast kind of fast food taco joint. They do regular fish tacos.
Oh, okay.
Just so good. So good.
Delicious. But that's where I see Marco Rubio coming in. I actually think he is an asset to the cabinet of the other stuff. And I'm glad you find comfort in him, because I got another one that you might find comfort in, and you're not going to necessarily like where it comes from.
All right.
But go ahead with the Rubio. You had something.
No, I was going to say, and again, that surprises me. That surprises even me.
I mean, Rubio pick surprises you?
No, that it comforts me. I'm there going, okay, whew, all right. Oh, actually, this is not, it's not like he got Jeff Probst from Survivor.
Yeah.
Here's what I want. I'm telling you. I want more celebrity cabinet members. I want Trump to start pulling folks from. I mean, we got a Fox host, right?
Well,
Let's pull
Gabbard
some
as
more.
well. Tulsi filled in for Carlson every once in a while.
She was politician before. She's like between in the two worlds. I want someone purely for the theater of it.
Well, speaking of that, Alina Habba, I think, has been thrown into press secretary.
How about that?
But that makes sense to me, though. That makes sense to me. Even that with the priest was the press secretary. I mean, you know why? Because I'm a big dork. The West Wing and the television show The West Wing. C.J. Craig on the show was a former Hollywood press PR person.
Okay.
So having someone in that world do that, like someone that's press and someone who's from that world, I don't have a problem with that because they're not involved in policy.
So you think that's a good fit?
I actually think it's a good fit.
Alina Habba. Yeah, I think it'll work for that side. The other one that I think is an awkward fit, but you may find comfort in, and this is why I left it to the end of the hour. Apolitical Talk Show. I'm going to keep teasing you. Apolitical Talk Show out there on the intranets and, of course, your favorite podcasting platform. Political Talk Show. And that's it on there. Here is the one that I want to get out there, and it is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Oh man, now you pull the air out of
so
me.
Now this is no. Let me fill you back up with it.
Kennedy's back in the White House.
Yeah, exactly. Kennedy. This is the move to where
you know what happens when they're in the White House.
Well, exactly. But
sexual revolution.
Yeah. But this is the one that won't be spreading diseases, just kind of mitigating the vaccines that might prevent them. So this is where I think you might find comfort in it. Now, obviously, the anti-vax stuff, the chlorine, fluoride, ivermectin, like all of the other things that he's just got a hit list for. The thing that I think he's going to and have the opportunity to is buck the establishment. One of the things that are on our list of things that are populist ideas, populism on it, number 5 to be exact, is that pharmaceutical side of it, being able to negotiate the pharmaceutical companies. He has a bone to pick with them, and whether he picks it through, hey, turn down the vaccines and also lower drug prices. Like, I think that would be the route that he goes, and then he can finally turn around and be like, yep, I was a Kennedy, I was in office, and I did good stuff to change the world. Thoughts?
It's there.
No?
It's there. I mean, it's just so hard to see it.
Okay. Well, without all the rest of the garbage that comes along with this happy little nugget.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to paint silver linings here.
It'll be see it to believe it, but yes, I think kind of like I thought. If not good in the now time, maybe in the future, moving forward, it has the potential to be something that is made to make the system better.
Yeah, I mean. I think him coming into that position is back to that chaos opportunity. There'll be enough things that are released or knowledge that comes out. If anything, the guy loves finding all of the skeletons in the closet.
We'll see. I mean, again, I know there are a lot of what you're saying is what I think a lot of folks are hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
there's a frustration with the system. An RFK Jr. comes in and says, "Oh, this is what's going on here and here." There's a reason the system is the way it is, and you can introduce an element to try to, put cracks in it or whatever. But I'm saying it's going to take you more than 18 months, and that's what this administration has. To start.
Yeah.
They have more than 18 months. And there's going to be a lot of stuff going on that they're going to actually need to focus on. A lot of stuff that they're doing now seems very scattershot. Like, you can't fix every quote unquote problem at the
Everybody's
same time.
excited to
everyone's
fix.
we're going to do this, we're going to do this, okay? So we'll see. And then we're going to get into the distractions of things when people start complaining that eggs still aren't cheaper, that the housing is still unaffordable. And all these other bits, but to the point about RFK, possibly hitting let's say a reset button.
Yeah, or at least challenging the pharmaceutical companies. I mean, honestly, that's the largest donor by far. You want to talk about war or oil or anything like that, or BlackRock or any of the other stuff that's out there, pharmaceutical is the number one lobbyist money that comes around. And he has advocated for that, for breaking it up or at least challenging it and everything else. Now, are we going to get Obamacare or anything else like that? Or heck, are they even going to turn around and let us have any of the vaccine mandates? They may make a federal side of everything that says all mandates are optional because federally we want to push this towards the Supreme Court with it. So there's a whole bunch and now you're back to the body autonomy type of argument with it. So how are they going to play body autonomy with vaccines but not have body autonomy with reproductive health? See, that's where that thin line I think that they're playing with right here, because again, back to the first part, is everybody's loyal to the man, not the cause. They all have their own causes. Some of them line up, some of them don't, some of them help each other. And even then, as we saw in Matt Gaetz, some of them separate. But they're all loyal to the guy, and that's the unification. Is it enough?
It's enough if the guy is getting us results. If we're not getting results, that's when you'll see problems. So again, and yeah, you can put RFK Jr. in charge of HHS, but then, okay, you say, Big Pharma, there's a lot of money there, and they can just start undercutting all these local representatives, saying, "Look, if you're going to go along with that, guess what? There goes your reelection campaign."
But that's where Elon Musk stepped in and said, "If you go against any of the cabinet positions, then we're going to fund your other person."
Well, yeah, they'll let you go to Elon Musk.
And that's what I think they're trying to do. I think they're moving the finances to be behind the richest man in the world, and then they can tell everybody to go kick rocks.
Oh, and then you put him in charge of all the government contracts so that he can make
because
sure
of efficiency, and now he gets to filter everything to himself.
Oh wow! This feels like an episode of The Lone Gunman. Remember that?
But that's what I mean. Is Ben and I were sitting here this afternoon going like it's a play. Like you can see it all lay out. You don't need to have 3 dimensions to see the chessboard that's in front of you.
It's a game of Monopoly. Yeah.
Exactly.
But everyone's working together as opposed to against each other.
You're more efficient with this program over here if you just hire me to do it.
Right.
I'm more efficient than the government. I'll prove it to you. Here's a piece of paper that an AI wrote up. Give me money. Right? That's the thing I've got with Elon Musk is like everybody's talking about all the stuff that he can do. I know the people that work for him that he throws money at does things.
Well, not enough.
But let's talk about the guy himself. Like that's what I mean with the whole thing. Like any toddler can come up with vertical rockets like as it comes through. Now who's going to put it together? You think the guy that went to MIT and has all this other degrees and everything else is the one that put it together? Or do you think Elon Musk in a garage was like, this is how it's done?
Yeah, we started in a garage.
Like, that's what I mean with this.
That was Steve Jobs.
Give me $3 billion and I'll come up with Starlink too.
Right. Yeah, no, and it's the whole privatization of the space industry and how that was just kind of an open sector and, opportunistic capitalism.
We used to turn around and get T-shirts of NASA. Look at the awesome team that put this thing together. We went to the moon.
For America.
Now we get to say Elon went to Mars.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you see the change that we've got with this? Not you people here. I see you guys get it. You guys get it. Yous out there. Can you dig it? Like that's where I'm at with this.
You're absolutely right. At the same time, I don't think people care. Most people they've been talking about privatizing so many things for so long. Nobody cares that we're privatizing the trip to Mars because no one sees a benefit in it. Although I will say there were so many technological advances that we got from the space race, from figuring out how to get to the moon. Those are all benefits that later filtered into the American public and benefited everyone. Now it's just anything that they get will benefit one person.
Exactly. Or benefit a company or benefit a brand or benefit in everything. You think of all this money that's being spent on the space race in the private sector was to even be pulled together and cut in half and given back to NASA.
Was it, you say?
That's what I mean. What if you took the money? This is where I think technological advancements and capitalism butt heads, because you're spending more money on quote unquote competition that's not real competition. You didn't give the guy who's smarter than you in his basement $1 billion. You just gave the money to a person that you already give money to.
It is interesting. It's one of those things that's kind of in the dark. Like for me personally, it's like I just woke up one day and I guess SpaceX is the person doing all this space stuff these days, and a lot of people just didn't really see the transition. And Musk went from the hyperlink guy to SpaceX and all the crazy flamethrower.
That's what I mean. Velcro, styrofoam, microwaves, like all of these different things came from that competition. That was, that was poured into one side of it. So I know we got off the rails on a little bit of things, but Free Speech Friday, etc.
For once, it wasn't me.
It was me. It was absolutely me. But
so free.
To rope it back into cabinet positions, Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be Department of Government Efficiency. And all they are going to do, I'll tell you right now, government contracts. What other things could you possibly put them under?
My question is it going to be just them, or do they need to hire a staff? And if they're going to hire a staff, how many do they need to hire? And how is it that hiring a whole new department actually helps efficiency?
I hope it's the two of them in a mailroom and they have to order Chinese takeout every single night and just cigarette butts everywhere.
Yes. That is a Neil Simon play right there.
It's like I could save 10 billion if we move this thing over here to over there. Oh, I've got a trucking company. Like, that's what I want. I want gravelly voices. I want like people to come downstairs and be like, this is how the government really runs efficient. Is open a door, papers fly everywhere. Like
thin ties.
Exactly. Just sweat pouring off of them. Like honestly, you don't think anybody else has tried to make the government more efficient? Like there are people's entire jobs that's their job to make it efficient.
That's the Office of Government Accountability.
Yeah. Are they going to just change the Office of Government Accountability to the Department of Government Efficiency? Just change the name real quick?
Oh my God. How many people from that office are going to quit because Elon keeps walking through the offices asking people, weird questions and harassing them or whatever?
What if your email was opened with your nose? Okay. I got a great idea for that, Elon. You got $100 million? I'll figure that out for you. It's just that side of it. The other thing is, and you hit on it, turnaround. In the last presidency with Trump, there was a lot of turnaround. How many of these starters?
Are you talking about turnaround or turnover?
Turnover, sorry. Turnover for everything. How many of these starters are going to get? How many of these starters do you think will make it 2 years?
Yeah, like how he went through how many chiefs of staff? 4?
Oh my goodness,
3 or 4. Yeah. He went through, I think, Anthony Scaramucci lasted a week and a half as his.
That towards the end?
Yeah. No, I was like in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, it was constant. It was every week. It was like, who's still there? Who's gone? So you're right. I'm going to bet. And again, this is me going against my own instinct. Yeah. I am going to bet there's actually going to be less turnover in the first 18 months than in the first administration.
Okay. I can see that.
I just have this feeling again. We've seen this movie before. I'm expecting some expecting the unexpected twists and turns, and people are actually going to go, wow, wow, that's actually not as bad as that was last time. Although, for all I know, there's going to be, boy, that is way worse.
Ben, if we don't see replacements, will we see redactions of public statements? Somebody says something, the big guy gets mad about it. Hey, sorry, I really didn't mean that thing that I said.
Interestingly enough, I think it'll be more considered water under the bridge because of how Trump conducts himself. He has a lot of those verbal skeletons in the closet as well.
Yeah, he turns around and says, I don't want TikTok anywhere near anything. And the next day it's like, I love TikTok. I downloaded it on 6 phones already.
Is it me, or has he been relatively quiet on social media?
Yeah.
I haven't heard a whole lot.
Once the campaign's over, we all calm down, and then we're back to buddy. Hey, you making money? I'm making money. Cool. Let's go back to work.
If he stays like this, like kind of like
take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
That's what I mean. Is everybody's screaming the worst?
Relief.
We can get there. Don't despair. Just hang out to WRMN, because more apolitical talk show coming up after this. We can all agree. Let's have a kumbaya type of hour, guys. Be right back. Looking to stay informed on the political issues that truly matter? I'm Dennis Sonar Green, inviting you to join me every weekday from 4 to 6 p.m. on WRMN for Apolitical Talk Show. WRMN, the talk of the town, is where you'll find clear, balanced analysis of the day's biggest news. We dig into the headlines, cutting through the noise to deliver the facts and insights you need to stay informed. Whether you're deeply into politics or just want to understand what's going on, this show offers the depth and perspectives that matter. Tune in every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on WRMN and be part of the conversation that's shaping our community. Let's navigate today's political landscape together on Apolitical Talk Show, only on WRMN, the talk of the town.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 5 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Cruden. Brought to you by Verizon. Thursday, November 21st at the Golden Skillet Family Restaurant, the latest Coffee with a Cop session will take place from 8:30 until 9:30 a.m. at 740 West Chicago Street in Elgin. The city of Elgin has been named one of the top U.S. cities for workforce growth, boasting an impressive 16.08 increase in its working age population. With thoughtful planning, the city aims to sustainably manage this boom to benefit local businesses and maintain its high quality of life, that according to the city of Elgin. A late-night dispute in Elgin on November 13th ended tragically when police discovered a deceased adult male at a residence in the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue. The incident, which police described as isolated, with all involved parties known to each other, prompted an immediate investigation by the Major Investigations Division, authorities assuring that there are no ongoing threat to the community. With your 1410 WRMN Newsflash, I'm Sean Cruden.
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbor said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
For a little lighthearted lawlessness on Sunday afternoons, listen to Handle on the Law from 4 to 7 p.m. Handle on the Law is a unique combination of useful legal advice and outrageous Handle remarks. Whether you're talking about Big Brother, big business, big legal problems, or Big Macs, you'll rarely find Bill without an opinion. His rapid-fire commentary gives listeners the information they crave in the way they crave it. It's Handle on the Law, Sunday afternoons from 4 to 7 p.m. right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
If you can't decide on dinner, have everything. Golden Corral at 154 South Gary Avenue in Bloomingdale has an endless buffet with over 150 items to choose from. There's an unmatched variety of food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, prepared fresh throughout the day. If you're craving something specific, call or check out their menu. Golden Corral rotates the buffet often. Golden Corral in Bloomingdale. They're the only one for everyone. Visit goldencorral.com.
This is WRMN News.
Hello, I'm Dennis Green. President Biden and China's President Xi are set to hold talks Sunday at an international summit in Peru. Biden has sought to maintain a steady relationship, even while raising concerns about the country's actions. Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi is on the House Intelligence Committee.
On a bipartisan basis, we're trying to make it clear, along with the Biden administration, to the Chinese that if you pursue aggression, you're going to see countermeasures, not only from us, but our friends, partners, and allies, too.
Last month, the administration imposed sanctions against 2 Chinese companies accused of directly helping Russia build attack drones used against Ukraine. And last year, tensions flared after Biden ordered the downing of a Chinese spy balloon that flew into the U.S. President-elect Trump made another eye-opening cabinet appointment on Thursday. News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas has more.
Trump has picked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. It's a huge job and a hugely controversial pick. Kennedy would oversee the Centers for Disease Control and the FDA, which approves and funds drug research in this country. RFK Jr. and Trump have formed a close bond since RFK dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Trump.
Kennedy is one of the most prominent anti-vaccine activists in the world and has long advanced the widely debunked idea that vaccines cause autism and other health issues. For WRMN News, I'm Dennis Green.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now.
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. This is hour 2 of a political talk show here on WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You can find me out there on the intranets at Sonic Engineer. I check it as often as I can, and that is about every quarter, maybe 4 times a year, somewhere. No. Social media is king out there in the world. You want to find our social media of WRMN, head over to WRMN1410.com. Did you guess it? You did. You're so smart. That's why you listen to Apolitical Talk Show. My name again is Dennis Sonar Green. For those of you playing at home, I am joined by executive producer extraordinaire Ben Demonium Boquist.
A pleasure as always.
Thank you, sir, for being here. And then also to round out the rest of the panel, this is Step On Down. It is Elliot Serrano.
It's great to be here. I can't believe I spent the last hour or so talking about how Marco Rubio gives me a sense of comfort.
Yeah.
That's where we are. That's where we are now.
This is where a political talk show is supposed to be. It's supposed to be just cut and dry. Hey, let's leave our unbalanced opinions. Like, we all know when we get into that circle. When you get in, you get into the circle of people in your silo of information, your silo of beliefs, and you get it. The tribalism starts a little bit. Oh, these red hats can't do this. Oh, did you see the liberals do that? And you get there.
No. I'm going to tell you right now. I can see where you're going, but you are not, and I say not, going to get me to go along with the yellow and green up north in Green Bay. No.
Yellow and green. We've got a Kennedy and we've got a Stein. See, you got to get the yellows and greens inside too. Or maybe a Joe Manchin as the yellow side of things. Are we going to have this third party? Because this is what I want to talk about this hour. That unity that's here. Even though we all go back to our camps, even though we all follow whatever social media or mainstream media or televised media or whatever media that's out there, or even just the conversations that are happening, us as Americans, we feel like people should drive on the right side of the road. we feel that you get maybe, 3 seconds before we honk at you at the green light that moves over
3
there.
3 seconds?
3 seconds?
That's
yeah.
an eternity.
Boom. If I can count to 3, I'm already mad at you to get out of here.
Exactly, yeah.
So, or we all agree that bread should be on the outside of sandwiches. So, this is where we all have agreements, even though we may be outside of our political sphere when we do agree.
You make a valid point. And I think in many cases, as I've learned, especially when we've had, let's say, again, I myself, I made this declaration on the last Apolitical Talk Show. For my entire life, I was a Democrat. And I said, you know what? I'm declaring independent right now. That's what I'm going right now. I need one of the two parties to tell me that I should be on their side. So that's where I am right now. But in that point, I can see a lot of very valid points of view on both sides. Once you get outside the craziness of, the fringe, it's on both sides. I believe that you can have compromise. You can have two sides of an issue. You can have people coming together to actually solve problems and not just perform for the television commercials, for the TV cameras.
America identifies as, I think it is 35% Republican, and just above that is independent moderates, is at 37, just under 40. The rest are Dems. So more people are moving towards that independent side, because I'm the same way you are. I think if you want to sit down on the couch and take out the notepad and tell me your feelings, honestly, for me, I went towards the Dems more out of I lived as a Republican as a child. And then even in the military, I still stayed Republican for it. And that was when I started going, okay, I need to start searching from where my beliefs are instead of just marching red or blue with it. With this here, having 3 different times that the Democratic Party turned around and said, this is what we're putting up. If you don't like it, you're a racist. being called well, in so many words. Obviously, it's a defund the police type of summation of the entire thing. But for me, it was the lack of competition. All I hear about from the benefits of privatization is because it will flourish competition. But then you turn around and you talk about the government and you say, nope, you get two choices. And more than likely, one of those choices has already been made for you. It wasn't until 2016 that we actually had primaries on both sides. How have we had that competition any other time since then? It's always been an incumbent, or it's always been you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to 28 because we're back to the competition.
I get that.
And I'm in there with you of moving towards the independent side. So now that it's a competition, you cannot blame customers for not buying your crap. And that's where I think the Democratic Party failed 3 times in a row. Now, one of them succeeded. One of the buy my crap or this guy will destroy America succeeded.
I don't want to get too much into that. I mean, not to necessarily destroy America, but there was an erosion of rights. I mean, women lost their reproductive rights.
Absolutely.
The Democrats were saying that's going to happen, that's going to happen. Even though, no, it's not going to happen. Boom, it happened. So that's significant. I will say Democrats, horrible on messaging.
Yeah.
Horrible. The Democrats in the past 4 years, I mean, Joe Biden could have given everyone a pony, could have forgiven all student loan debt, and could have, let's say, again, gotten us to Mars. The messaging would still be so bad that all the other parties would go, well, you know what? They'd find the bad in every one of those accomplishments. So to me, if I fault the Democrats anywhere, it's a messaging. But also at the same time, I will say this: I've said this on other shows, not just on this show. I'm honest. I mean, even as a Democrat myself, my life is not significantly better.
Yeah.
Being under the last 4 years. If anything, my life has gotten a little bit worse. You know, I have not benefited at all from what I see other people benefiting from.
Exactly.
So if you're telling me be on this side, we all win together, I'm not feeling it. Yes, there are some people who are losing, and I will go back to women and their bodily autonomy. That's huge. Absolutely. That does not affect me as a man. But but when you look at the number of young men who voted for Trump, you look at the number of Latino men who voted for Trump. They weren't thinking about the other stuff, because if you ask me, the bodily autonomy thing, that was something that was lost in 2016, I'm afraid. Now it's like, okay, how is my life going to get better? They weren't seeing it. So that's the fault of the Democrats.
And let me bring this over to you, Ben, with this. Let's talk about the two big acts that Biden did, since we're on that same page and we're talking about unity here. CHIPS Act. Amazing for the stock market. NVIDIA shot straight up. Everything went there. So the stock market, boom, because the stock market reacts easier. I mean, you can send out a bad tweet and lose 20% just from a bad tweet. So the CHIPS Act was number one. The other one was the infrastructure side of it. Infrastructure helps the populace, but infrastructure takes time. Were they running off of infrastructure promises? Because it is going to get better as far as infrastructure. It's already in place. It's already moving. But at times, infrastructure takes a decade at least after funding, after everything else. Do you think this is where kind of the disconnect is? CHIPS Act helps the stock market. Infrastructure bill is supposed to help the lower middle class, but it takes too long. Is this where, like Elliot's saying, the message was disjointed?
Yeah. I mean, more so we hear about how the parties work against each other, kind of, and a lot of with each other with budgeting and stuff like that. But when you're talking about those two specific bills, it's like it's a good marker of what they actually can agree on bipartisanly. The rich get richer, and also everybody else can still travel around. Infrastructure, it affects everybody's life.
Yeah,
the
if
rich
I have
and
a
the poor.
helicopter, what do I care about potholes?
Sure, but you maybe your helipad you'll get a couple more helipad options.
Yeah, I mean, how many helipads could I possibly have? A couple dozen?
Yeah, maybe more now.
Can I borrow your helicopter?
Yeah, this is the different America I live in.
WRMN chopper, it's out there. Yeah.
The other imaginary side of everything. So let's talk a little bit about the coming together. Obviously, infrastructure investment is something that everybody wants. We all have a tire that blew. It doesn't matter who you are out there. If you make $400,000 a year, congratulations, you also spend some of that money on tires. Because we all want that. According to a AP NORC poll, NORC, survey found that 79% of Americans support increased federal spending on infrastructure. This includes 94% of Democrats and 62% of Republicans that I guess walk everywhere. Many view infrastructure investment as critical to maintaining U.S. competitiveness and creating jobs. Ben, is this socialism?
In the best way.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what people often do is obfuscate anything where the government is setting up a program or helping, the normal type of democratic socialism that every nation needs. Yes, it's one of those. No one likes to push against any type of capitalism, but for some reason the library or whatever is spending
free
too much
market's
money.
good up until maybe 4 people control it, and then after that it's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, we should only have 4 people control this industry.
You're getting my GE and my whatever else. Yeah.
I mean,
BlackRock.
The U.S. military is the largest socialist program in the United States.
So fair enough. I'll get you that one.
And
I was going to say the post office.
Well, that too, but I mean, I don't disagree. I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing. I mean, and you kind of need it to be that way. You have to have the government running it. Otherwise, like if you completely farm out our military to private contractors, we already saw what happened when you have contractors like Blackwater get involved in the theater of war.
Just this week, the Abu Ghraib settlement came in.
How much?
It was in the billions.
Holy mackerel! And that was supposed to be saving the government money. It was supposed to be saving the government money by contracting them. And explain to me how, if you're a Blackwater operative, you can make 3 to 4 times as a regular enlisted man, pretty much doing the same thing.
Yep,
I don't get that.
Well, it's part of the military-industrial complex, first off. And then, honestly, for me, I think is part of the great robbery of the lower class. Because what I do is I tax you, or the middle class, rather. People who don't make over a certain amount of money don't pay taxes. Like, that's just a given thing. I think it's like $27,000 is the cutoff.
Yeah.
If you make under $27,000, please have every single dollar.
Yeah,
you
no
should
reason.
not be paying taxes.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Right.
So this is where the middle class after that, and to turn around and call $28,000 a year middle class is okay. So now you're taking my $50 a year in taxes that I bet. So either way, we all pay into the taxes. Then we turn around and have these wars that go out that then we fund both sides. You turn around and say, okay, well, I'm going to send the aid over, and we're going to send the aid both in military equipment and in sandwiches. We're going to do both. I'm going to send,
and they're not even really good sandwiches. Either,
no, and most of the time they're just flour, and you got to bake the bread yourself.
Yeah,
it's but at least from the UN side of it. But this is where we come into it and say, okay, well, how do we fix that? Well, we send more money out of it. Well, what money? The government money that we all put into and then turned around to do it. Oh. This is where
where Elon Musk comes in.
Exactly.
And he looks it over and he looks at the efficiency of it all.
And says,
am I wrong
can
there?
Do it. Give that money to me and I'll make sure the war still continues. Like that's what we're at with it.
To the point too. I mean, again, I remember when you joined the military, you had the GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Joining the military was an opportunity to like get yourself together. In many cases, learn a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Add to that, once you got out, you had your college paid for. I had two of my brothers went through school via the GI Bill.
Yeah, it's amazing,
right? And at that time, you made enough money like to kind of like take care of your family. You can't do that anymore now.
No.
Our servicemen cannot afford. I mean, everyone says, well, they get their room and board and whatever. Yeah, that's not what you're paying them for. You're paying them because they're putting their lives on the line, okay? But also because a lot of these servicemen have families to support. They're taking those checks and they're sending them back home.
Yep.
They have spouses back home who have to look after the kids, pay the bills. If the kids have got to go to school, get childcare, all those things. And we're not doing that for our servicemen, which is why recruitment is so down right now. They're having a hard time getting people to join the service. And again, it's beyond me why you have military contractors who make money in the billions, whereas our servicemen, and I will always speak in favor of our servicemen, of our folks who go out there and who are the boots on the ground, they do not seem to get the benefit that everyone around them does.
It's true. And that's where privatization comes in with it. Now, we can go into let's keep going on to the side of the agreements, because I am in agreements with you as well. In agreements, there we go. No M. In agreements with you, because it is that first. I mean, they do send that money back. I mean, I had 80 days out to sea. What am I doing with that money? Like, online poker takes you so far. Like,
were you losing that much money? There's some kid back in St. Louis going, sonar's on.
Oh, it must be the 1st or the 15th. It's government time.
All the sailors come to shore.
But speaking of that government side of it, let's talk about something that has an 88% favor across all party lines. And of course, that is universal background checks. Universal background checks will require all firearm purchases, including those from private sellers or at gun shows, to undergo a federal background check. 88% of Americans approve for that. Of course, it's 96% Democrats, and a whopping, you ready for this number? 79% of Republicans. That gives a grand total of 88% of the American people want that. Universal background checks.
And I'm sorry, I would probably say around, and this is me anecdotally speaking, thinking from what I've heard and what I know, at least 80% of gun owners in general would agree.
Yes.
The majority of gun owners are responsible, who have no problem with having a background check done themselves and seeing that others abide by the same regulation.
Because an originalist, Ben, will absolutely debate over what the word of an office versus officer means, but they will absolutely ignore well-regulated militia.
I say, okay, like we'll do, let's make T-shirts for our militias. I think we do that, and just make sure everyone's wearing the right T-shirt before they get their guns.
What if we called ourselves the well-regulated militia?
DWRM. Hold on. We need
you're trying to get it accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the ones who came up with it.
Regulated militia for the nation. Like,
there you go. We mean the WRMN?
No, for the national.
We're rebranding, everybody. It's far-right political show now.
But it doesn't. Again, I'm sorry. I will say I don't understand how gun ownership became a right-wing thing.
Yeah.
How if you're into guns, that's because you're on the right.
I think it was when they were blowing up Bud Light.
Yeah, but I know as many Democrats who own guns who really very much believe in owning guns. Heck, if I didn't have, like, let's say, my pets, I'd own a gun. But they know that.
I feel the same way about my kids.
Because when you
I didn't have my kids running around, getting into things.
Yeah, really. No, for those you can't see, Dean is in the studio with us right now off camera, and he's giving me a look like, what do you mean? Because when you have a gun in the house, you're more than likely to have it used on you as opposed to you use it against someone else. And it's the whole,
statistically, yeah.
And then I wouldn't want someone shooting my dog, or me accidentally shooting my dog.
Well, even then, if you want to talk statistics on it, good guy with a gun argument is 1 out of every 100.
Yeah.
Most of the time, a shooting is because it's all bad guys.
And the good guy ends up shooting someone innocent as well, in addition to the bad guy.
It's there.
And so with the gun, owning a gun, as someone who has liberal proclivities, I don't have a problem with people owning guns.
So then let's take it and pivot to this one. Everybody, 65% of Americans believe criminal justice system needs major reform. That's 79% of Democrats and 41% of Republicans.
Wait a minute, hold on. 41%?
41% of Republicans.
That number had to have gone up because
more than likely
there were so many who thought that the current president-elect was railroaded by the criminal justice system. So you gotta concede at that point that there is something that can happen in the system to go after someone you feel is innocent.
Yeah, and the other side of it, too, is I think the overcrowding of prisons is finally starting to make headline news for things.
We do. What is it that we imprison more people in the United States than China, and we've imprisoned more people than South Africa during the height of apartheid.
Wow.
So, I mean, we have a lot of people in prison, but that's because it's also a for-profit system.
Exactly.
And then when you start seeing things like recidivism, where you don't have as great populations in the prison system, you're like, okay, we need to do something about this. Because if we don't have anybody in prison, how are we going to pay
How do you
for
make how do I get my government grant?
Right.
Honestly, that's where it comes from. You want to talk about the welfare state? Look at the corporations that take the monies. Take lots of the monies. And if they were able to be flourishing, laissez-faire, market stable businesses, why would they need so much money's coming in?
Why can't they pull themselves up by their bootstraps?
They don't have bootstraps? You know what it is? Is corporations are people without feet.
Yes.
I think
they have 2 left feet.
Dude,
that's good.
Can't you pull it up with your gloves? Like what? Maybe they got hands.
I did not see that coming. That's very clever.
Apolitical Talk Show will return after this. If you are in agreement, or maybe you're on the outside of some of these things, we'll continue going for the Kumbaya fire. Did you guys bring the s'mores?
I brought the chocolate. Did you
chocolate?
Anybody bring the marshmallows?
Dean's got crackers around here somewhere. Saltine probably, but we'll figure it out. More Apolitical Talk Show after this. For the soup.
This is WRMN News.
I'm Marky B reporting. We start with Elgin Crime Time, Wednesday night, 11:12 p.m. Officers responded to the 700 block of Jefferson Avenue on the east side in reference to a report of a physical altercation inside a residence. Officers arrived on the scene and located an adult male subject, subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives from the Major Investigations Division are continuing to actively investigate this case. It was an isolated incident with no threat to the community, and the parties are known to each other. The identity of the male victim will not be released at this time, and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office will determine the cause and manner of death pending the results of an autopsy. The Elgin Police Department will provide updates as more information becomes available, and we will too, right here on WRMN. High school football playoffs continue in the area. 3 teams of local interest remain alive. Geneva, 10-1, takes on Lake Forest, 9-2. Trailing Burlington Central in the third quarter last week, the Geneva Vikings rallied thanks to Georgia-bound Taylon Taylor's 96-yard kickoff return and a clutch onside kick call from Coach Boone Thorgeson. Geneva still alive at Lake Forest tonight. Batavia is hosting Downers Grove North tonight. Both teams come in with a record of 10-1. Batavia rallied last week to a victory over Lincoln Way West after trailing 21-0 in the game. And good luck to Sycamore High School as they continue to make a push at the 5A level. Have a great weekend. And join me, Marky B, Monday morning for the first shift from 6 until 10, right here on the Talk of the Town. We are WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. Have a great weekend.
WRMN News, produced in Studio 14 by the River Media Network.
LaFleur Taco Grill at 910 Dundee Avenue at the corner of Slade in Elgin is under new management. Enjoy a huge selection of salads, quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and more. LaFleur Taco Grill also has American cuisine favorites and breakfast. Bring the kids. There's a kids menu that they'll love. Are you planning a party this summer? LaFleur also has catering with all types of both Mexican and American foods. Call 847-214-1306 or LaFleur Taco Grill on Facebook.
When you need your banker, they should be ready to put you first. At Wintrust, you can have the banking experience you need and the one you deserve. Ready for a change? We've made it even easier. Our new sophisticated online platform makes opening accounts a breeze, but our bankers are always here for you. Open a new Total Access checking account in minutes at wintrust.com/fast. Plus, get $300.
$100 required to open. Requirements to qualify. Must use link to apply.
Member FDIC.
Twin Zeros at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights, Illinois. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. Twin Zeros Restaurant in Harwood Heights not only serves traditional gyros, but also has chicken gyro sandwiches. Twin Zeros also serves a variety of sandwiches ranging from cheeseburgers and Vienna beef hot dogs that have recently been inducted into the Vienna Beef Hot Dog Hall of Fame. Italian beef, Italian sausage, and combo sandwiches. To ethnic favorites such as Slovaki and Grecian chicken. Slovaki is shish kebabs, specifically chicken or pork shish kebabs, grilled to perfection, served on a warm pita with tomatoes, onions, and our homemade tzatziki sauce. You can also enjoy barbecue ribs served every day. Twins is open 7 days a week and also delivers locally. Located at 4870 North Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Check out the full menu at twinzeros.com. That's twinzeros.com. And welcome back to A Political Talk Show right here on 1410 WRMN. Talk of the Town, the voice of the Valley. You can find us at WRMN Radio on the YouTube as well. Go ahead and just search out WRMN Radio. You'll find us there. You'll be able to comment. Phone lines are open as well, 847-931-1410. I'm Ben Boquist, joined by Elliot and Sonar today, bringing out you the last half hour of A Political Talk Show. I figured we'd start off just getting to these comments, clean up shop a little bit before we take everybody out of here. It's been a great show. We've got a lot of comments. Dutchman says, hey, he's also on the phone line right now, so we'll talk to him in a minute here.
Yeah.
Happy Friday. A funny comment from a different Brendan. With RFK Jr., we should see a decrease in roadkill. How about that? How about that? So,
talk about cleaning up the roads.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Brendan saying hi. Everybody say hi to Brendan.
Hi, Brendan.
Brendan. Thanks for listening, sir. As always. Dutchman saying hi again.
Hi, Dutchman.
Yeah. Brendan again. Everyone, I'm Brendan, and my favorite radio station is WRMN Radio in Elgin, Illinois. Love it.
Awesome. That's my favorite too.
Ours too.
What's the new? What is it now? What are we calling it?
The regulated militia.
Well-regulated militia nation.
Nation network.
Nationals.
Nationals. That's
new
us.
Party.
And we're speaking about a new party too, man. This is where populism needs to, be popular. but more popular for the people that, like run the country.
I mean, so that they feel they have say-so. I mean, I think that a lot of folks don't feel like they have enough say-so. I mean, they vote or they don't. I think a lot of people don't vote because they don't feel that their vote is listened to.
Disenfranchised. That's the word that we may do Wednesday. So when the Dutchman comes over, this is what I want to talk about. The other thing, I think we're on like number 4 now. Yeah, this will get me back on track. Support for Social Security and Medicare. The 2023 AARP survey reported that 96% of Americans believe Social Security should be preserved for future generations. That, of course, is 93% expressing similar views about Medicare. Bipartisan support remains strong even as the debates over funding methods persist. And I think that's really where the debate goes. Now, anybody who's debating getting rid of it, you're not going to win any popularity contest. But how can we fund it? Maybe a popularity contest or two that's in there. You said Dutchman's on the line?
Yes, he is.
Go ahead, Dutchman. Welcome aboard, sir. Thanks for being here. Let's talk a little bit about some kumbaya-age, about how we all want to come together. How do you feel about Social Security and Medicare?
You all stink. No. No. Well, I think, you know how I feel about labels, right? Okay, so.
Are you part of the No Labels party now? Which I think is ironic, is like organized anarchists.
Why don't we hire people to put in positions that are like you're hiring somebody for a job or CEO of a company? Because here's the point. You're talking kumbaya, it never happened. Never happened. I always thought it would be a good idea if, depending on what party's in office, that you should have at least a couple Democrats, like the Republicans. You should have at least a couple of Democrats working with you on your committees or whatever. Not on the committee, but what do you call it, in a cabinet, and it should be vice versa. I think it's come to a point where, well, everybody wants bipartisanship, right? That's the big push, but it's never been bipartisanship.
Yeah, well, I also think
I don't know,
with this side too.
When was the last time they actually had bipartisanship outside of 9/11? I mean, but
90s, maybe early 90s, I would say, somewhere around there.
But it happens. We just don't hear about it as much. Okay, because remember, he said it. The infrastructure bill that passed was bipartisan. The CHIPS Act that passed was
infrastructure bill that passed, it was Kamala Harris that cast the deciding vote. It was a split decision.
Well, but how split? I mean, because
on the Senate
right?
Side
I'm just saying. So
the House was there.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You at that point, well, the Senate was it was evenly, but it wasn't like you had. It wasn't like you had a side saying no way, no how, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they just said not this way.
Exactly. So you can.
Well, here's the thing, though. All right, California. I'll use California as my where I grew up there. But I mean, I've been here longer than California. But here's a good example of what I'm talking about. Their infrastructure bill, if there is one, is terrible. The fires that caused a lot of death and destruction in Paradise and a lot of places up there were caused by negligence from the PG&E company. What happened there? Well, they're still in business. They still run. What are they doing to supplement those families they put out? And things like that.
Well, and that's where I think, to Elliot's point. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the other thing is they have billions of dollars in the hole for this railway that's only going to. It's like building a railway from Chicago to St. Louis. Well, who's going to ride it?
Yeah.
I mean, they're building one that goes from L.A. to San Francisco, which is, to be honest with you, it won't work in that state because most people drive anyway, and the stops along.
Well, you got to give them a chance.
Probably take you longer.
If there is no train, I'm gonna drive because there is no train. You give me the train for the option, and you go from there. But I think, to Elliot's point, is there is bipartisanship of getting things done. I think my point of the hour is they don't do it for us. they do come together to do things, but they come together to do things for themselves and the people that gave them money, not the people that donated $5 here and there, but the pharmaceutical companies, the power and light companies that you're talking about over here, Dutchman. So they do work together, but they don't necessarily work together for our benefit. Do you have?
Well, that's
okay.
Yeah. Well, that's part of that's a big one. I mean, you're right. I mean, they'll say that, or the other thing is too, who's going to take credit for it? You know, I mean,
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Well, there are people that are taking credit for the infrastructure bill that absolutely voted against it and said no. The other thing is who do they work for? Well, the prescription drug prices. Back when we were talking about that, everybody wants to work on this. So let's look at the bipartisanship of bringing insulin down. Insulin was brought down. Well, here's the thing. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of medications that are out there. They're going to turn around and pick, you know what? Here's a couple dozen that we'll start to play around with. Oh, and by the way, of those couple dozen, one is what we'll land on. So is it actually fighting to get drug prices down, or is it more of here's a headline, we got drug prices down, even though we didn't do anything, because that's where our money comes from.
Yeah, but for what drug? See, this is the thing I'm saying. It's the smoke and mirrors. They'll put it out there and say, "Oh, drug." But I know this for a fact because people have gone through this year after year after year. They're going to do this, and they end up doing. Oh, they'll take a percentage of the population and take care of them, and not the rest of them. It'll never happen. See, here's the problem. How many billions of people we have in this country?
How many billions of people? None.
Millions of people.
Millions. Oh, I think it's 400 something. 400 million,
Okay, so,
almost 5. If I had to guess.
Here's the problem. You can't. You guys should know this. You can't satisfy everybody.
Oh, of course not.
It's not going to happen.
But you can satisfy the majority of them, and that's my point for today. Is if you've got 88% of the electorate saying this is what I want, and they've been saying it for decades, but we're not getting it done. Somebody's not working for somebody.
Well, it's because they're okay. Now, here's the story about lobbyists. You know this. I'm bringing this into the subject because it's a sore thumb with me.
Sure.
The lobbyists have a way of getting into people's pockets.
Yeah, it's called dollars.
Well, and this is where I know somebody. One of my good friends' son works in Washington. He's a lobbyist. I know a couple of people who are lobbyists.
How many dollars does he hand out?
They don't talk about it. Well, you know what I mean?
Can I interject just for a quick minute, Dutchman? Let me interject for a quick second here because I know the point you're going to make, but and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but not all lobbyists are bad.
That's true.
I mean, there are lobbyists out there that are doing things for a constituency that are giving the constituency a voice that they wouldn't have otherwise. So it's like you voted for such and such to do things, but they're not listening to you. Okay, now we're going to get this lobbyist to now talk to you and tell you we need you to do this. So, I mean, again, Dutchman, I know.
Elliot, I was going to say that. There are good lobbyists. But these guys know that I'm a big environmental enthusiast because I work in that field. And
I knew I liked you for a reason.
Well, I mean, I keep in touch with everything, but my big thing is, I guess, because I was I've gone through I was a firefighter with the Forest Service for 10, 15 years, and I've worked with a number of people outside of the organizations where, when it comes to environment. But here's the thing. The biggest problem people have is everybody's screaming global warming. Well, okay, so let's say we take out all the smokestacks in the world, we get rid of all the smoke and everything and the pollution. But what do we do about all this stuff that we're standing on? Because, see, this is what I'm saying, is the money's got to come from somewhere. Whose taxes are you going to raise? Where are you going to get it from? Which state are you going to get it from? It's complicated. Having worked in a budget by myself, in a municipality before, I know how it works. And and somebody's going to lose out somewhere. So who you want to piss off?
Oh, of course.
Is the question.
Well, I hope it's
So that's what it comes down to, you know?
I hope it's the people that already have a bunch. That's probably where I would take it from.
I say
people that might or turn around and be like, hey, you already have some, so maybe you should slow down on some of that, taking some.
Elon Musk, if he wants to be in charge of that, and if he can't find the money, he has to kick it in.
Yes, yeah. If you can't balance the budget, that's the challenge that you get to.
He has to foot the bill.
Hey, Dutchman, thanks a lot for your take. I really appreciate you calling in, buddy.
Thanks, you guys. I was going to say, I know I need to come over there one of these days and say, you know, thank you again. But you guys all have a great weekend, and I don't even want to. It's a good thing you're not talking about the Bears, because that's a waste of time, man.
Oh man, that's the last half. That's the last quarter hour, buddy.
Right.
You want to talk about people letting you down?
See ya.
Bye, buddy. Thanks for listening. Some of the other things that are on our list here, one of them that I think had a big rush and then kind of like fell apart because it's not like the glitz and glamour for it. Net neutrality. Net neutrality is another one of those things that we can all agree on over here. University of Maryland survey revealed that 83% of Americans support net neutrality regulations. This includes, of course, 89% of Democrats and 76% of Republicans.
Yeah, but we were told that if you do that, it's stifling innovation.
Yeah, because Comcast or Astound didn't just go out and buy everybody that's there. It's crazy.
And they tried. There were people who warned us about how Facebook would be, what Facebook would turn into. And I see the same folks who years ago were saying, no, we can't do that to Facebook. We can't do that to Facebook. Turned around and complained about Facebook.
Yep. Benjamin, have you picked up on the pattern yet of these numbers of how they are high? And it is the Democrats that are in favor of it more than ever. If the Democrats favor populist ideas, populist policies, why not lean into that, Ben?
Yeah, you know what? You've kind of seen them trying to do that a little bit. You saw a progressive push with what do they call the crew?
AOC's crew, the squad.
The squad, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's unfortunate. Like you've seen that kind of squad go through and bring forth these progressive populist ideas and positions. And it's almost like they just kind of steal that thunder, steal that wave, and water it down a little bit, So you're not seeing the turnaround, the real actual process go through and actually come through, like bring these initiatives to the table, even with when they're having control over more than one branch,
Elliot, is it rude to call out your colleagues' corporate donors?
No.
Is it rude? Because it still seems like people like AOC or any of these other people come in, they finally get a seat at the table, and they get a seat at the table because all they did was campaign of like, we're going to get the bad corporate money out of here and everything else, and I'll call everybody.
Go milquetoast.
And then they turn around and go, oh, I didn't know Nancy Pelosi would be this tall.
Exactly. Yes. Right.
You got any stock tips?
I mean, let's be honest. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yes. Say the thing.
But not all corporate money's bad. I mean, there's some of it that actually does good.
You and your balanced
there are corporations out there that are actually doing good. They are supporting good causes. They are doing good things. I'm not saying all of them, and it can get a little bit nutty. I think we kind of focus on the bad, but there are good. There are also good corporations. Yeah,
and they lobby and they fund. Populist ideas.
Right.
I absolutely love the lobbies for renewable energy. There should be somebody doing that. There should be somebody doing that. And of course, 74% of Americans agree with me that we should have renewable energy development. According to 2023 Gallup polls, 74% of Americans favor emphasizing the development of alternative energy over fossil fuels. This includes, once again, a majority of Democrats and 62% of Republicans. This is where they missed the boat. Instead of following the things that are overly popular in your own party and overly popular in America, and you're not going to lean into them.
When were we supposed to hit Hubbard's peak? Remember? No, I'm saying that bit about we were supposed to really run out of fuel at some point. You're talking about the Mad Max situation, right? But there was this idea that we were going to run out of, so we were trying to plan for that because it's going to come to the point, and I am convinced it's just going to happen one day, and it's going to take everybody by surprise.
And I think that could be what's happening.
Yeah.
The other thing is engines have become more efficient.
Yes.
I'll talk to you on that one. If you had kept from Hubbard's point from it in the same inefficient engines, I think then maybe you would had it. But I think I'm in agreement with you too. Why are we making more than Saudi Arabia?
Oh, and people forget that part too.
Saudi Arabia has been pumping for decades, and now they're going to turn around and be like,
we don't need to.
Maybe the United States should take the lead for a little bit.
Right. How many people don't realize that we are, I mean, if not the top, among the top 2 petrol, provide in the world. And people say, well, we need energy independence.
Drill, baby, drill. But how much more we're already winning?
Right.
Fracking.
Yeah. The reason we're not quote unquote energy independent is because we're selling that oil to other countries. We're not keeping it here. I mean, we could, if we wanted to say, oh, this is all our oil, we'll do a thing. But then oil companies go out of business at that point.
Ben, I didn't want it to be a big deal, and I didn't want it to be a big deal on the campaign trail, but the fracking question, the Kamala Harris fracking question, this right here was the pivot moment of turning around and going, hell yeah, I said that. Screw you and screw fracking, and that's what I said, and I'm going to do it. Boom. Right there, immediately. 74% of the electorate would have turned around and said, hey, that's my gal.
Swing states, though.
Yeah, I disagree on that.
Really?
Yeah.
74% want renewable energy.
Yes,
I heard it from a Gallup poll.
No, they do. But they do. And I participate in those Gallup polls, too. No, that was such a hot button issue. Plus, there was so much nuance involved to it.
Exactly.
There was so much nuance, and you don't get any nuance during the campaigns. And I just wish that everyone had seen that movie with Matt Damon, that took place, that was in the town that was affected by fracking. Where they you turn on your water faucet and brown sludge comes out.
Flint, Michigan, right now, still.
Yeah, that wasn't fracking, but.
No, not Flint, but I'm saying in Pennsylvania. I mean, Pennsylvania is affected by it. There are people who are in Pennsylvania where you can't come out against fracking, but you have people in Pennsylvania saying this is ruining our environment right now. And yet, as you say, but they are all saying we need to get away from this.
Yeah, that's interestingly the place where it's most contentious too, because that's where the jobs of people who frack are.
That's it. That's exactly it.
It's just like the earthquakes in Oklahoma that have been happening like crazy, and nobody wants to say take away this business.
Joe Manchin and Mitch McConnell. Look at those two people that turned around, and they're the old guard of the oil and dirty energy side of it. That's why Joe Manchin would always play his card towards coal every single time.
No, but we had clean coal.
They're cleaning the coal.
Coal seems like an oxymoron to me.
I know.
Like I know people bring up like military intelligence or whatever else it is too as an oxymoron, but like that's that kind of level of there. And it's
clean dirt.
Yeah. The secret is that it's actually not coal at all.
It's like if I turned around and said, well, that's dirty soap. Wait.
Well, thank you, because I was, of course, being 100% facetious there.
Never here. We got Danver and Clar in our bathroom. Just want to give a quick shout out, free advertisement.
Thanks, Danver and Clar.
Danver
smells good. The other side of it, just like the net neutrality, let's jump all over the place and come back to the weave. that we've got. I'm just going to start a podcast called The Weave.
No, it's already a Trump thing.
Oh,
Sorry.
really?
Yeah, he said that.
I can't take it. Is it trademarked
It
yet?
makes me think about hair replacement.
The weave. He needs the weave. Yeah.
The other one that everybody wants is obviously data privacy. 79% of Americans are concerned about how companies use their personal data. This concern spans across party lines, with, again, 81% of Democrats and 78% of Republicans. Why did you not run on these things?
Oh, who drafted the Patriot Act? I forget. Remember.
The Patriot Act, yeah.
Add to that, I mean, if people really wanted their data to be private, there are ways of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You can. There are lots of services and programs you can use to keep everything private, to keep your personal data private. But the truth is, you gotta pay attention to it. And the reason you will never see politicians running on it is because these companies, again, like Facebook and Instagram, all these companies, when they provide this service to you for free, it's because you are the product that they're selling.
Yes. Yeah. And the product specifically is what you do on the platform.
Exactly.
They are able to see what you are involved with, the words that you read. Like, there is a dossier right now. You think like there's a filing cabinet with like people. No, there is a amoebus information just knuckle that's all about you. That includes when you were born, your social security number, your reading level, how much education you have, how much money you have, when was the last time that you paid a vet bill, like anything.
And you fill it out yourself.
Yeah, and you filled it out.
Because the moment they were actually making progress on that, Facebook came out and said, well, we now need to charge for the service. And everyone went, no, I don't want to pay for it. And then it turned around and boom.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, my mom sends that to me every couple of weeks or so.
I do not.
I'm not
consent.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm not Facebook, Mom. Like, this is a text message.
Don't use my photos.
I do not consent to you using my photos
Yes.
for anything. I was like, Mom, it's our Christmas card. Thanks for listening to Apolitical Talk Show right here on WRMN. Elliot Serrato, I appreciate it. And, of course, Ben Demoni and BoQuest. Tune in for more WRMN action this weekend, later on this evening, all the time, 24 hours on WRMN1410.com and 1410 AM. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The soup with the crackers. Got the...